One pill, one celestial, two. Bai Changfeng could already imagine the damage those two girls were making, so he didn't dare to dabble on the topic any further. I estimate they went out to play. Then just leave them be. Grandfather, did you break into the saint rank? Squinting her eyes in an examining manner, Bai Yin was rather surprised by her grandpa's progress. Chuckling in response, "It was about 2 hours ago." The atmosphere around the island suddenly changed and became thick with spirit particles. By taking advantage of that opportunity, I Chu ran in that Wu Wei. "Oh yes, there's your grandmother Jun Tianyu as well. We've all broken through into the saint rank." This time Bai Yin literally gawked her eyes out. "About 2 hours ago? Wait, isn't that around the same time I completed the refinement process for the pills in my hand? It can't be. The alchemic trial is the cause for the island's change?" "Grandfather," caressing her chin, she muses for a moment before speaking. "Can you go call Lord Chu Ran and my grandmother over?" Bai Yin originally wanted to include Chief Wu Wei in her sentence, but halted at the last moment due to the trouble of deciding what to call that man. "And call Grandpa Wu Wei over as well. I have something to give them." Bai Changfeng definitely didn't like the way the girl addressed that person, of course, evident by the puckering lip on this old senior. However, he's had to admit that Chief Wu Wei did the right thing before by offering some spots for the Lan family during the critical period. That fact helped press down the discontent. "My precious granddaughter, I won't object to you calling him your grandfather, but I won't forgive him from the bottom of my heart. At the very least not until his daughter Bai Ning was found. The missing woman was this old grandpa's ache and pain, a scar that he couldn't remove. I know, nothing is going to change the fact that he split my parents apart, nor can he dismiss his part in my mother's disappearance. However, I can't deny him being unaware of the truth. At the very least he never deliberately hurt my mother, so I will bear with the past until mother is found. Father and grandmother would surely prefer it this way." That's right, Bai Yan's mainly going at this subject out of her emotional ties to Jun Tianyu, grandmother, and Yin Feng, father, while Chief Wu Wei acted as the benefactor, that's all. Sure enough, Bai Changfeng's mood got better after hearing that statement. Raising a smile, "That's right, I am the most important grandfather in your heart, and that old thing can only stand behind me as a second." Huffing and puffing, there's a twisted sense of glee in the old grandpa's heart regarding his own opinion. Looking at this old guy's jealous appearance, Bai Yin just couldn't resist a laugh like she's watching a man-child. Patting his shoulder with a smile of her own, "Grandfather, don't worry, your place in my heart can never be replaced." Very pleased by what he's heard, Bai Changfeng breaks out into a roaring laugh of pride. "Haha, you said it right, Yenner. That Wu Wei can never replace me. Otherwise, ugh, just thinking of that possibility is making my mood go foul. Grandfather, let's continue our conversation after you call them over. It's getting late, and I don't want to postpone the matter." All smiles as well. She was very happy to see the old fella in a good mood after the fright they must have felt during these couple of days. One pill, one celestial, three. Looking at Bai Changfeng's gradually disappearing figure, Bai Yan's smile also faded away, revealing the cold killing intent in those eyes. "Spirit realm Che. If they got such nerve to come do evil here at my home, then it's not necessary to keep that place in existence anymore." Just when Bai Yan was pondering on her next course of action regarding retribution, her grandfather had already returned with the requested audience. "Bai Lassie, congratulations on your success in taming the miracle. I bet you've harvested a lot this time, right?" Lord Chu Ran of the Holy Land was the last to arrive, but was also the happiest on the surface. "Indeed, Lord, I got a lot of useful things while inside." Faintly smiling because of what she has in mind, Bai Yin didn't hide anything and openly admits the fact. "I heard from grandfather, just now you all broke through to the saint rank?" "Aha, that's right, we've only just arrived at that level." "Then that's perfect. I have here a Dan pill, one for each." Godhood Dan pill, a miraculous alchemic product that could propel any saint rank into the celestial level without consequences. That's what she's holding. "What kind of Dan pill is this?" Holding the beady little thing up to his own face, Bai Changfeng asks with curiosity his voice. However, right as the old man's about to pop that thing into his mouth, a dainty hand had stopped him midway. Grandfather, hold on for a little bit. This alchemic pill holds great power from within, so before you take it, please scatter everyone nearby and away from this location. Lord Chu Ran got all surprised by that comment. He trusts Bai Yin wholeheartedly. If the woman says it's powerful, then it must be incredibly powerful. Making a slight cough. I'll do just that and scatter everyone nearby. We wouldn't want them to be injured by the spillover. After that said, the Holy Lord immediately left the Holy Island again to carry out the job. Bai Yin didn't mind waiting. Remaining quiet until the person returns, she kept silent despite the constant badgering from her grandparents for more details. The efficacy of this medicine is too amazing. Rather than telling them, it's better to let them experience it firsthand. Lord, did those people disperse yet? She asks after the man returns with a very pleased smile. I've made them wait up in the mountain peak. Now there shouldn't be anyone left on the main area. Can we start now like this? Yes, go ahead. I will go over there and rest while you all begin. Leaving the group to take a seat on the closest chair she could find, Bai Yin appears lazy and relaxed in her demeanor despite the eyes being that of careful scrutiny. Bai Changfeng was the first to begin. He's the most curious of the bunch, and swallowed the pill in one full swing. Seeing this, the rest also followed suit and popped the medicine like him. In an instant, a dominant force gushes outward from their meridian and into the rest of their veins, causing the body to tremble and shake. What are you all waiting for? Hurry and meditate. It's then that Bai Yan's voice drifted over from the front. Meditate. Shock filled the group's heart. Hurrying to sit down with their knees crossed, each of them wanted to hurry and absorb that river of energy into their dantian. One pill, one celestial 4. Boom! The sky suddenly becomes riddled with flashes of zapping light, before it completely merged into a series of lightning strikes at the group. It's too abrupt, and left the receivers all confused and unsure of what's happening. Boom! 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 The whole Holy Land has now become shrouded in a thunderstorm, leaving no space unturned. Atop of the main mountain peak here, the many disciples that came up here to avoid being caught in the spillover were fascinated and scared by the constant rumbling and hammering from the sky. They never seen anything like this, so it immediately caught their eye. What is going on here? I've never seen anything like a purple thunder cloud before. Showing a frown of awe, Zheng Qi, first elder, was eyeing the sparks of light from afar. This is not normal. Something of such large scale must be deliberately caused by an outside source. Just now the Lord ordered us to leave the main residence and hide up here in the mountain peak. Can it be because of this reason? If it was us there, then we would have turned to ash already under that barrage of light. Run-E, second elder, adds, surprised as well by the scene. But then boss, why is that storm cloud attacking the Lord? Nothing will happen to them on the island, right? Just like his second brother Qiu Shurong, third elder, was eyeing their biggest brother right now, but instead of surprise his were that of worry. Of the three main elders of the Holy Land, Zheng Qi was the most knowledgeable. Therefore, if he doesn't know, then the other two wouldn't either. Do the two of you remember the thunderous storm created by Yenner's attempt at making the 8th grade Dan pill? I speculate this is also a trial from the heavens, just that. Giving a pause, the first elder takes a second to collect his breath. This time it's someone breaking into the celestial rank. Celestial rank. Like a thunderbolt, this news blew up among the disciples and elders. Celestial rank? Who is breaking through that stage? Is it Yeno? Just now the Lord mentioned the girl coming out, didn't he? Qiu Shurong sounded very excited. After all, it's his disciple they're talking about. A disciple of the celestial rank, how glorious. Zheng Qi didn't add anything to his third brother's comment, only staring at the thunderstorm that's still raining down from afar. Yes, it must be Yenner. Rani now got all happy as well. She was already at the saint rank. Breaking into the celestial rank is within expectation. No matter what their speculations were, none could have guessed it was Chu Rant's group, which was with good reason too. They've only just advanced into the saint rank, so it didn't make sense for them to have another breakthrough. The Holy Island has completely lost its former serenity at this point. The only safe location would be the one spot where Bai Yin Saturday. So, the woman had the perfect view when identifying which of her elders were about to falter. The first among the four were Jun Tianyu, the grandmother. She seemed to be shaking with a trace of blood seeping from the corner of her mouth. 1 pill 1 celestial 5. Grandma, crouching down to the shaky woman, Bai Yin brings forward and presents a different pill. Eat this medicine. It will help a bit, so you must hold on. Though Jun Tianyu was still stuck in a state where everything outside her body was void, the grandmother still opened her mouth out of instinct due to the familiar aura. The effects were fast after she ingested the pill, quickly healing and reinforcing her weakening body. Of course, Bai Yin wouldn't be stingy regarding towards her family and friends. Taking out another 3 pills, she fed each of her elders respectively based on the level of need. Because of this help, the 4 struggling seniors were once again able to deal with those pesky lightning strikes from above. Time continued to elapse like this, and eventually the storm cloud fades and revealed the bright blue sky with the burning sun hanging in the sky. Yenner, what sort of Dan pill did you just give us? Bai Changfeng of the medicine sect asks with a shaky tone to his voice after completing his growth. Godhood Dan pill. Those simple words exploded in their heads, ringing like a grenade just blew up in their minds, and causing their wires to completely go fry. Clenching in her heart, Jun Tianyu's surprised face quickly changed to a sense of happy glee that's mixed with disbelief. So I wasn't sensing it wrong. We really broke through into the celestial rank. Achieving a level beyond saint rank was everyone's dream in this land. Something that hasn't been achieved as far back as centuries or more. Bai Yin understood why her grandmother was feeling so awed by the feat, speaking with a comforting tone. It's not necessarily essential to head to the celestial rank in order to break into that level. We can do it here in this land as well, grandmother. Besides, aside from the spirit particles being thicker over on that side, there's nothing else special about it. I will one day shape another celestial realm on that side. By then they will bow down to us. The woman's voice was overpowering, shaking all their hearts with her words. That's right. Sooner or later those people who harmed me, or tries to harm me, will all get on their feet and plead for their life. This would be the first time Bai Changfeng and the rest witnessed this side of their girl's personality. It's shocking and somehow daunting in a way, because it's not the expected image of a good young granddaughter that they've become accustomed to. Then again, they had good reason to feel this way. The celestial realm was the strongest among the many realms that was known so far. To claim she's going to forge a new one atop of the old one was, well, borderline heresy. By lassie, Chu Ran bellows out a laugh and pats her on the shoulder. I watched you grow over these past 6 years. From your weakest to the current you, I believe you can do it. You will forge a new celestial realm atop of the ruins of the old. Bai Yin openly smiled at the firm's support as she continued. Thank you, Lord. I knew you would support me. Turning to her family now. Grandfather, if my guesses are correct, the reason you were all able to progress into the saint rank earlier was because of the effects of my attempt at refining the Godhood Dan pills inside the miracle. The spillover from the success likely affected the air, and that's what caused the sudden increase in spirit particles. So, a flash of light flickered in her eyes, glimmering with a wonderful idea. I want to suggest calling everyone over to the island, whether it be the elite disciples or my flower brothel. We can have them all train while I practice my alchemy on the side. The thunder trial of an alchemy attempt was different from that of someone making a breakthrough. Unlike the latter, the former only focuses in on the specific individual and wouldn't harm those around them, making the idea feasible and very useful. 1 pill 1 celestial 6. Oh right, there's also the lawn house. Bai Yan's expression slowly got harder as she narrows her eyes in a bit. The number of enemies I have are bound to grow in the future. I must secure their safety and allow them to preserve their own well-being as well. The lawn house was her family, while the demon beast sect and flower brother acted as her subordinate power. Therefore she has a duty to see to it they're well after she leaves this place to attack her enemies. Yenner, do you want me to go handle this? Chief Wu asks, his voice and face all cautious. Despite the silent answer, Bai Yin did give a nod after staring at this unfavored grandfather of hers, which in kind eased the sudden rise of tension in the air. Lord! Bai Yin seems to have thought of something else, and turned to Chu Ran of the Holy Land. First clean up this island for now. In addition, have Yi and Xiao Wan come see me after they return from their outing. Okay. All smiles. The Holy Lord didn't resist at being ordered. If those two girls had known you were coming out so quickly, then I bet they wouldn't have ran out to play to begin with. She didn't add anything to that remark, after all it's true. However, right as Bai Yan's about to turn and leave, a huge aura suddenly swamped over to them with a shadow hovering above their heads. Immediately, she looked towards the source, and was astounded to be confronted by a giant white tiger that's about to directly crash into her stomach. She wanted to dodge, she really did. Sadly, not even with her current strength did Bai Yin manage such a feat with this giant ball of fur. Before the woman knew, the tiger had already pushed her to the ground with those paws against her chest, the tongue constantly licking her face, and that tail wagging in the air like a whirlwind. Little Rice? She asks with a tone of surprise. You've reached the celestial rank? Nodding quickly. Xing-Yi, Azure Dragon, also went to the demon realm some time ago. Then Suzaku Vermilion Bird fed us something, and that's when we broke into the celestial rank. So you're saying Xing-Yi and Suzaku have met already? Bai Yin follows up with this question like she both worried and humored at the same time, blinking his big blue eyes. I do not know what happened, but Suzaku wasn't happy when she met Xing-Yi. She gave her a very sorrowful and sad face, then refused to see us afterwards. A corner of Bai Yan's mouth began to twitch. Xing-Yi was a genuine male before. It's no wonder she's having a difficult time accepting her as is now. It's all right. Suzaku will get used it in time. Patting the tiger's head, she gives a reassuring nod as a way to comfort her friend. By the way, where's Xing-Yi? She's off protecting the princess after we solved the issue with the spirit realm's attack force. Mistress, did you miss me? I really want to eat your dong meat dish. Little Rice desperately wagged his tail when speaking. His appearance was honestly no different from a pet pleading to its owner for food. Okay, when I finish everything and with Xiaochen back with us, I will make a grand feast for the both of you. Is that fine? That delighted the tiger, and made him lick her face repeatedly. But, Little Rice, your current appearance isn't convenient, so it's best you take on a human form. If demons want to transform into their human form, then they would need to consume the transformation fruit, unique to the demon realm. For that, Deetsong has prepared one long ago, just that the little guy refuses to eat it. Wrinkling his nose at the idea, Little Rice's expression instantly crumbled. I don't want to take on a human form. I like my current image. It's mighty and aggressive. The sensation of the godhood Dan pill won. That aside, the main reasoning was still about how handsome he's going to become. What if that girl from the Tiger clan keeps clinging on to him and not let go? That be with real trouble. If you don't take a human form, then it's going to become extremely inconvenient to bring you around later. After all, you're not the little tiny you from before anymore. Pretending to be a cat is out of the option. I may prefer the current me, but... Desperately wagging his tail, Little Rice took a second of hiatus to think of something. I can still transform into the image of a little white cat. It's different, but a new ability I gained after gaining this power. Bai Yin actually had black lines running through her face then. It looks like this little fella is going to refuse to take a human form regardless of what I say. Whatever. If he's so reluctant, then we can wait until the future. It's not like it's a must at the moment. Grandfather, I will have to trouble you for the things to come. Stretching her hand out in a lazy manner, she beckons the tiger to her side. Come, Little Rice, let me lie on you for a bit. The big guy didn't reject the summon. In fact, he was very happy to toddle up to her legs and sprawl down to act as a pillow. And sure enough, Bai Yin could feel herself melting into that soft furry body once she leaned down. Matching this with the warm sun in the sky, it's comfortable and beautiful like a picture out of a portrait. Bai Chong Feng, and the others left quickly at this. It's not like they didn't have anything to do at the moment. There's still the work entrusted to them to carry out. While the human world was coming to terms with what they experienced, and the astounding news of the amazing breakthroughs happening at the Holy Land, the situation back over in the spirit realm weren't looking so positive. Spirit Lord He-Fei Xiang had smashed everything within his vicinity over the terrible news that went into his ear, indicating how infuriated the man was feeling. Swish! It's then Lu Qingyu stepped through the doorway. When seeing the mess that was this room, the woman inexplicably furrowed that brow. Without indication, the Spirit Lord rushes over to his own daughter and grabs onto the girl's collar. Say it! Is it you who leaked the word out? Is it you who informed the demon realm and caused my son's tragic death in the human world? Under the oppressive aura of that rage, a throbbing bitterness layer thumped out from that pale face. Even if you don't want to recognize me as a daughter, I'm still a member of the spirit realm. What's in it for me if the spirit realm falls? He-Fei Xiang still carried suspicion in his old eyes despite that strong defense. But those hands nevertheless relented and loosened the grip. It really wasn't you? I said it already, it's not me. Furthermore, what benefit do I gain by revealing the secrets to the enemy? Humph! The Spirit Lord huffs a grunt. My children are all dead now, leaving only a cheap bastard whore like you around. If I pass on as well, wouldn't that make you the heir to the entire spirit realm? Even if she never held any emotional attachment to this supposed father of hers, being called a cheap bastard whore still hurts like a piece of thorn. Clenching those fists, Lu Qingyu needed a good second to calm her breathing. Father, I can't do anything else if you want to say it like that. And so what if I don't like my brother? I'll only fight with him from within our ranks. Never will I throw him to the wolves from the outside. Damaging myself in order to damage someone is not my style. Nor am I that stupid to pull such a non-beneficial scheme. So what if I am the one who leaked the news? This bastard never once thought of me as his daughter. Now he will suffer dearly for what he so. The sensation of the Godhood Dan pill too. Then why did you take so many people out to cause trouble for the three main powers in the human world? I've explained that before already. Biting her lip like she's tied on speaking the truth. I was jealous of the Demon Queen. That's why I wanted to make some trouble for her. I didn't expect my actions would nearly bring disaster upon us. I know my wrong. Her words sounded sincere, like she's made some grave mistake, and now repents for it. Seeing this picture, He-Fei Xiang's last bit of doubt was quashed, slamming his fist on the table before speaking. Damn those demons. I will kill them all for my son's death. Flashing with an underlying light in her eyes, Lu Qingyu knew this was the time to speak up. What do you wish to do, father? If there's anything I can help with, please let me know. You daughter, I will do everything you ask of me. Due to the anger he felt for the ones responsible, the Spirit Lord had missed the cold sharpness in his daughter's aura, something which he never would have done in the past. Qingyu, softening in his eyes, the man's voice grew gentle like a proper father's. Now I only have you left as a daughter. I'm sure it's been tough on you over the years, so why don't you change your surname back to the family's? How about that? Showing an excited face. Thank you, father. From the initial glance, her expression looked no different from someone that has waited a long time for this opportunity. However, if they just took a minute to look deeper, they would immediately notice that poisonous and vicious light hiding within those irises. It's chilling and murderous. Ever since this bastard killed her mother and ordered Lu Qingyu's expulsion from the family book, this woman has never once forgiven the man in front. He's dead in her heart already, so whatever he tries would mean nothing. Qing Lu, I know I was too harsh on you back then, so I hope you will forgive me. I didn't have a choice either. He-Fei Xiang sighs like he's meant it. So, I will place you in charge of the city's army. That actually made the lady cock her head up with a look of surprise in those eyes. This man intends to hand me authoritative power? If it had been before then, perhaps Lu Qingyu might be moved by the offer. But now that's not going to happen. To say the heart has been tempered cold was an understatement. Yes, father. Afraid of being caught. She hurries to force an excited smile again on that face despite what she felt. If there's nothing else, I wish to leave first. Go ahead then. He-Fei Xiang waves his hand in a dismissive manner, tiredness apparent in that voice. Arching her fist, She promptly closes the door behind herself and left, leaving only the spirit lord alone in this trashed room. "My lord, are you really going to hand over that much power to the miss?" Asking this was a gray-robed old man that suddenly materialized from the shadows, his frown indicating he's not of the idea. "Is there any other way?" The cold snappiness in the spirit lord's voice explained the man shared the same opinion. "My pair of children have both died at the hands of the demon realm. Now I only have this one bastard daughter born of a whore. If I can still continue to have children, then of course, I won't look to Qingyu to succeed me. But what else can I do? I've lost the ability to raise my bottom part already due to age. Where else am I supposed to find another child?" The old senior from the back didn't add anything to those words. He couldn't deny what his master was saying. Even so, the aching suspicion of something being amiss kept bothering him. The sensation of the godhood Dan Pill 3. Back outside, Lu Qingyu's expression had turned into a snarl by this point, as she gave one last fleeting glance to the room behind herself. "Miss," Senior June had been waiting outside during the entire exchange, so his expression promptly eased up at the sight of the lady. "How did it go?" "That old thing has completely fallen from my words, so we should be good for the time being. However, whether or not the spirit realm can avoid the upcoming crisis is beyond my control." Lu Qingyu had a smug look when she said that because the image of her mother's tragic death still lingered in her mind. It's unwipeable, and the fuel to her rage. "Elder June, let's go. I don't believe there will be much days left for this place anymore." Taking in a deep breath, she slowly strolled for the main gate, as the hatred continued to burn with each step. For the senior who has been faithful to this lady and her late mother, he just couldn't help but issue a long deep sigh. Unlike others, including his fellow peers that remained faithful to Lu Qingyu, only Junhao himself knew what really went down behind the shadows. For example, it was the lady who poisoned her own father with an untraceable potion that destroyed the spirit lord's ability to procreate with another female. Holy Island. Even though the terrain here couldn't be restored to the former glory of what would be considered an island out of a fairy tale, but through the efforts of everyone combined here, it's still better than the scorched earth appearance from before after the four elders made their breakthrough. 4 Hualuo of the flower brothel. None of this mattered of course after she and the important members of the demon beast sect were summoned over from the abyss forest. To this faithful follower of Bai Yan's, being able to see her mistress again after so long was the main joy she could ask for. Taking a slight bow to show her respect. "Mistress, I am so happy to see you again." Bai Yan returns the greeting with a smiling nod. "I am happy to see you too, Hualuo. How are things going at the flower brothel? Is everything running smoothly?" "Rest assured, mistress, I've kept a close eye on things while you were away. Now we are no longer a small power, and has grown into a second-rate organization, equal to the demon beast sect in footing. In the past, an intelligence organization like the flower brothel would only be able to keep a safe foothold on things, due to Bai Yan's backing. But things have mostly changed by this point. Even without their founder around, Hualuo used her intellect and ability to grow the business, which paid off in the long run as shown. Of course, the benefit that came with being related to Bai Yan couldn't be denied, but the grunt work still fell on this faithful lady that was there from the beginning of this journey. "Anyways, now that you're all here, I can begin practicing my alchemy." First giving her own girls from the flower brothel a look to see if there are still people missing, Bai Yan then shifted her gaze over to the demon beast sect that has sworn loyalty to her own son. "When I begin, no one is allowed to leave the island, so don't miss this chance." Obviously none of them understood why the woman would say something so weird, but they obeyed anyways out of loyalty or fear of the consequences. "Yes, milady." Their voices in sync and united. That done, Bai Yan immediately turns for the cottage and left a ringing bang in the air when the door closed behind herself. She's going to be busy for the next while, because there are still 5 portions of ingredients left over, more than enough to create a battalion of celestial rank fighters. The sensation of the godhood Dan Pill 4. With a poofing sound, A pang of green smoke seeps out of the cauldron as the ingredients inside began to melt into a green liquid form. Throughout this process, Bai Yan's gaze had never once left the container. It's firm and sharp. Back outside in front of the cottage constructed out of bamboo, the crowd were all sitting cross-legged and immersing themselves in this great opportunity to cultivate. It's borderline addictive even, this feeling, causing them to lose themselves from the exposure. To be clear, at the moment there's only the residual spiritual particles hovering in the air. But even then, it's many times more potent than what they are used to. Then from out of the blue a grumbling rumble rocked the sky, causing their eyes to look upwards at the thunder cloud hovering above their heads. Before they could react, a streak of lightning promptly zapped downwards and made a direct hit onto the room where Bai Yan stood. The force devastated the content inside. Even so, the woman paid no heed to the destruction of her property, only focusing on the cauldron and the ingredients inside. Hualua was the first to notice the huge increase in the air, causing her eyes to widen in shock when staring at her mistress's figure. Like the rest of the girls from the flower brothel and demon beast sect were all gasping by this point. It's overwhelming their logic and left their brains blank. A humph. Bai Changfeng makes a slight cough, figuring he should intervene to avoid wasting time. You should all hurry and cultivate. Such an opportunity doesn't come often and should be seized when presented. They needed no more urging after hearing the medicine lord's comment. Getting back to their meditative state, none of the Crow D said another word. This included the 4 seniors who first benefited from the experience. They may have already broken through to the celestial rank, but reinforcing their strength and level was still imperative. Time raced away under this wonderful scene. It's beautiful and surreal at the same. At one point lightning rained down like arrows. The next its beams of light shooting up from below like pillars of rainbow. By the time Bai Yan finished her refinement of the Godhood Dan pill, none of the people here had moved still. This was fine for her. She's in no hurry to take a swing at the second attempt yet. After all, even the residual particles were enough to greatly boost these people's strength when given enough time. Waste was a sin, even she knew that much. 3 days later, many breakthroughs happened during this period. For the Demon Beast sect, most of their disciples are now at the king rank, while their sect leader reached the monarch rank. Of course, the dragon they brought along were also part of the group. Since the lizard was already strong to begin with, the big guy was able to reach the peak of the monarch rank, and only needed one more step to hit the saint rank. Now that leaves the flower brothel. Though the girls themselves were inferior to the demon beast sect in terms of strength, but most of them still managed to reach the king rank in their cultivation. This feat was something these ladies who are skilled in intelligence gathering never could have imagined. However, what's most surprising was Hualuo herself. The lady actually surpassed the demon beast sect's leader and hit the peak level of the monarch rank. It looks like you've all made a lot of advances. Very good, let's continue. Shrugging her shoulder, Bai Yin went back to the ruins of her former cottage. Continue. No one said another word. They're very confused because it never even crossed their minds that there's going to be more to this. And sure enough, many mouths were gawking the second she brought out the ingredients. The sensation of the Godhood Dan pill 5. At the foot of the Holy Land's mountain, the little chubby's fat rounded body has become soaked in his own sweat as he gasped for air from the long hike up the sloping path. Pa, we've been climbing for so long. When can we reach the Holy Land? I can't move my legs anymore. PHH. A slap instantly came flying over from the side, landing directly onto the back side of the chubby's head. You will walk even if you can't walk. It's only been a little distance, so far, so quit yapping that mouth. In the future don't claim to be my son if you are like this. His voice grumpy and unmerciful, Wang Deqiu angrily glared at the chubby beside himself. Rubbing the back of his brain to soothe the sting, the little chubby makes a blaming look, but kept quiet anyways. Papa. It's then a small delicate hand reaches over to tug at the man's sleeve, causing Wang Deqiu's heart to melt away at the voice. I can't move either, I want to be carried. In front of his own daughter's plea, Wang Deqiu's serious and stern expression promptly crumbled. Instead, A warm smile bloomed, followed by an involuntary softening of his voice. All right, your papa here will carry you. We mustn't let our Xiaotong get tired now, can we? When picking up his daughter, the way he acts was completely different when facing his son. It's downright bias. Making a wronged face, Wang Xiaoping purses his lips in discontent. Pa, you are being biased. Shooting a stare in return. Say another word and I will ditch you here. That sentence instantly shuts the chubby up, but not before he murmurs one final comment. If only I can be Sister Bai Yan's son, how wonderful would that be? Not only is she good-looking, she is gentle to Xiachen, unlike my old man here. He only knows how to beat me. What are you muttering about? Asked Wang Dachio after picking up some slight noise from his back. Nothing. The chubby jerked in the corner of his mouth over how sensitive his old man's ear was. He only dares to have that thought inside. Never would he say it aloud, because he knew his old man would beat him to death. Then hurry up and move your legs. I heard the chief is also here in the Holy Land, so we need to go greet him. And I also heard Bai Yan is back. The truth was Chief Wu Wei had taken into consideration of this family's relationship to Bai Yan when picking out the disciples from the Misty Fairy House. However, despite the man's effort to locate the family of three, they were nowhere to be found, not even a trace. Due to that reasoning, a letter was left behind at the Wang family's estate. It's just that, instead of telling Wang Dachio to come to the Holy Land right away, Chief Wu Wei wrote that they should seek refuge inside the abyss first, and to only come after receiving the signal that it's safe to do so. That's why they're so late. In the end, as a result of that twist and turn, the one to suffer here would be poor Wang Xiaoping. Despite the chubby kid's unfit body shape, the boy's father didn't slow down at all to accommodate his struggling pace, and walked even faster. Papa, shouldn't we wait for brother? Asked the innocent Wang Xiaotong that's being carried. Giving his daughter a rub on the head regarding that comment, Wang Dachio happily answers her. Your brother is too fat lately. We need to help him lose some of those calories. Why else do you think I didn't bring a carriage along? It's to help him lose that fat. Wang Xiaotong nodded her head almost out of reflex. She didn't understand still, but she has full trust in her papa's decisions. No wrong could come from her father in this young girl's eye. Group Breakthrough 1. Grower. Just as the family of three was approaching the main area of the Holy Land, a roar suddenly boomed down from above. Next thing they knew was a huge dragon swooping in at rapid pace and blocking their path from the front. Lord Dragon, is there something you need? Almost taking to his knees from the pressure alone, Wang Dachio's voice started clattering from the unease he felt. Who are you? Where's your passage identification? Those without one is not permitted into the Holy Land. A puff of smoky air spews out of the dragon's nostril when it spoke, causing the human man to squirm backwards out of instinct. However, just when things were reaching a very awkward point, Wang Xiaoping did his usual thing and snorts before running forward. He's quite the brazen little boy to dismiss the pressure from a being so much further up the evolutionary chain. Lord Dragon, my boss is Bai Xiachen. His Highness. The dragon huffs a grunt in a displeasing way. You think I will believe you just because you claim to know His Royal Highness? The chubby guffaws a laugh with his childish voice. If you don't believe me, then take us to see Sister Bai Yan. I know she will want to see me. Humph. First you claim to be the prince's underling. Then you call the queen your sister. Are you trying to toy with me by throwing the royal family's name around? Wang Xiaoping honestly didn't think this huge dragon's reaction to be so serious, blinking his chubby eyes with a surprised light. That's because Sister Bai Yan is so beautiful and young. I didn't want to call her my auntie. The dragon didn't comment on that logic, only moving its head closer to the chubby in an examining manner. Though not intentional, the horn did nearly scrape across Wang Xiaoping's face unintentionally. Seeing this, Wang Dachio promptly dragged his son back to his side without a moment of delay. He's afraid of angering this huge lizard right now. After all, it's not like everyone would know of their family's tie with Bai Yan, so things shouldn't be taken for granted. Isn't that little Xiachen's friend? It's at this moment a voice broke in from the rear, causing the chubby to swing his head around at the three oncoming girls. Princess, It only took a glance for the huge dragon to recognize those faces. Hurrying to bow his head. Highness, do you recognize this child? Di Xiaowan nods. He is Xiaoqin's friend. I have seen him while I was at the Luohua Kingdom. Let them through with us. We're heading back that way anyways. Yes, princess. With the demon princess's permission, the road has now been cleared of obstruction. Boom. However, just as the group of 6 were about to walk again, a loud rumbling explosion rocked the ground from afar, making an ugly face. Di Xiaowan cries out immediately. What's going on? Did the Holy Land get hit by lightning? Shui also ran forward with an anxious expression. When she saw the lightning were coming from the general direction of the Holy Island, her urgency erupted and showed in the astonished face she made. Oh no, the lightning is coming from the island, and Bai Yan is there right now. Her words were enough to frighten the other 2 girls, forcing them all to rush towards the epicenter without further thinking. This includes Wang Diqiu and the chubby who were lagging behind all this time. The kid actually ran as fast as any of them in this moment. Group breakthrough 2. By the time Di Xiaowan and company managed to arrive at the scene, it was already well into the event. They could see the crowds of people gathered around Bai Yan, who was working silently with her cauldron. Towards this picture, they honestly didn't know what to make of it. Father, what's going on here? Shui bites her lip and asked. The Holy Lord didn't show it, but he did feel relieved that his daughter was back. The loud noise you heard is Bai Yan refining a new alchemic recipe she found inside the miracle. You came back just in time. Come, we can all practice here together. Shui literally gawked her eyes out over that information. It wasn't even all that long ago, where they got to experience the benefits of being near Bai Yan when she attempted to refine something. Now they got to try it for a second time? In that instant, the princess from the Holy Land took on a look of a predatory wolf, eyeing a treasure trove of meat. It's glowing and targeted. Xiaowen, you should go over there and cultivate too. Heaving a long breath now that she knows what was happening, the demon princess urges her friend from the lawn house to join in on the fun. You're not joining? Lan Xiaoyan asks with curiosity in the voice. Shaking her head, the demon princess explains. I do not have to cultivate, I will just watch from the side. Di Xiaowan was the princess of the demon realm, so she has no need to train like an ordinary person. As long as the seal within her body becomes lifted, then the power from within would come forth on its own. Okay, not commenting on that, Lan Xiaoyan hurries over and found a great spot for herself for this occasion. For Wang Diqiu and his family of 3, this group who came last were also quite dumbfounded the second they discovered the dense spiritual particles in the air. It's not like they never been to places with exceptional training conditions, but this was on a whole new level. It was another half a month before the session completely wrapped up. The first to make a breakthrough would be Bai Yan's 5 Shifus, Holy Land and Misty Fairy House. These old-timers had it the easiest since they were already on the threshold of making an advancement. What did surprise Bai Yan though was Wenru, the young alchemist whom she bested at a contest, and made him swear loyalty to herself. The young lad's pace was incredible, and directly hit the saint rank in one go. But then again, everything did make sense now that she's thought about it. Everyone has a limit. If one focuses in on a thing, then they are bound to be lacking in another. In this case, when Ru has diverted his attention away from alchemy, the lad's main interest, to cultivation here in this case. That talent once again shined through, showing how amazing the person really was even outside his field of expertise. It's a shame though. Aside from those below the saint rank, the residual effects of the Godhood Dan pills on the surrounding environments are minimal to the individual. However, this did give Bai Yan an idea for the future. If she gets more ingredients, then creating a legion instead of a single battalion wouldn't be a pipe dream. It's very much a possibility. Shifus, and everyone else who have arrived at the saint rank, come forward please. Gathering at her call, the 3 Shifus from the Holy Land, and the 2 from the Misty Fairy House, all showed a confused look on their faces. Nevertheless, they stepped forward anyways along with Haoyuo, and the rest from behind. Group Breakthrough 3. Anyone but them has to withdraw from the Holy Land. Wait outside the mountain base until called for. Bai Yin did not directly bring out the medicine. Instead, she sharply orders the remaining people, who didn't meet qualification, to leave. Lord Chu Ran naturally understood what the lady wanted, so he immediately followed up with his own instructions. Everyone follow me. No one is allowed to stay behind. But sister-in-law, I want to stay. Puckering her lips to one side in an unhappy manner, Di Xiaowan protests, softening in her tone against the girl's protest. Behave. If you stay here, then the lightning will hurt you in the process. It won't. The demon princess shakes her head in denial. I'm not afraid of those thunder strikes, please let me stay. Showing a pitiful light in those eyes. It's hard to deny someone like this, that's currently tugging at your sleeve in a pleading manner. Bai Yin didn't say much, only narrowing her eyes in at the girl in an examining manner. Then suddenly, her pupils shrank inwardly, like she's discovered something incredible. Fine, you stay? Giving a nod in agreement. Except Xiaowan here. Everyone else is to leave if you are below the saint rank. Don't say I didn't remind you all if something happens otherwise. Her words were very serious, and that was enough to make those who were hesitant at first to dash off like a puff of smoke. Some of you must still be wondering about those thunder strikes from before. I can tell you all now. It's from my grandfather's breakthrough into the celestial rank. The explanation was like a grenade, exploding their eyes until it's spinning with stars. First Elder Zhengqi had said it from the start. It was someone having a breakthrough. What they didn't know was the individual, not being Bai Yin herself. Turns out it's Bai Changfeng instead. Yenner, twitching in the corner of his mouth. Second Elder Runny speaks with a hint of disbelief. But Lord Bai only just broken through to the saint rank, how? In other words, the old bastard has only recently broken through, so how could he make another advancement this quickly? Flipping over her hand, Bai Yin reveals the bottles of pills she readied for everyone. This is what I just made with my alchemic cauldron. See this thing? Holding up one of the beady little pills. This is called Godhood Dan pill, an alchemic product that can help a saint rank advance into the celestial rank in one go. Second Elder Run-E now sounded shaky. You mean we can all break through to the celestial rank just like that? With that pill? That's right, Shifu. Anyone is able to with the help of this pill. Wait until everyone uninvolved leaves the Holy Land, then we can begin. One by one, Bai Yin hands out her supply to those gathered around. Of the many who were amazed by the opportunity, Hualuo of the flower brothel has to be the most moved here. She's always been at the bottom of barrel in her life, from setting up the brothel to protect herself and her sisters, due to their unfortunate upbringing and origin. The lady has never been lucky in life. Well, that was until she met Bai Yin, and was saved by the woman. Since then, things have been going smoothly and constantly improving. Just that being able to step into the legendary level, like the celestial rank, still left her bewildered on whether or not this was really happening. Group Breakthrough 4. With a faint smile, Bai Yin gradually came before Zhengqi and his two brothers from the Holy Land. Shifus, it was the three of you who picked me up back then. For that, I will never forget your kindness, and will do my best to help improve your strengths. These three have watched her come all this way in life, making them some of her most essential people in life. That's including the fact that they're unreliable on many occasions, but still, they are very much important to her. And, taking a pause to organize her words, you will always be the most important people in my world outside of Ditsong, Xiachen, and my brother Bai Xiao. Years of companionship, this feeling, how could others compare? Only by making them capable of protecting themselves could she go fight the celestial realm at ease. Fortunately, Bai Changfeng wasn't around to hear this. Otherwise the old grandpa would have to go find a tiny spot to weep in silence. My dear, Zhengqi's first voice choked as he reached out to rub the woman's head. When we picked you up 6 years ago, you were already the one and only family we have in this life. He and his brothers have no children. That makes the girl their unofficial daughter regardless of what others thought. Bai Yin smiled at that, and didn't object to the idea, because she felt the same way. Then without forgetting the rest, she turns to Zhongnan and Zhongbei of the Misty Fairy House. Shifus, I want to thank the two of you for the care you gave me while at the Misty Fairy House. As long as I can walk down the path I chose, I will certainly take you along with me forward. I will never forget the kindness and care you've shown me during that period. What about the spirit realm? What about the celestial realm? One day, this big world will become one and become mine to rule. The Zhong brothers were very much gratified over that promise. To these two who already lost a disciple in the past, having another so gifted and talented was the greatest fortune they could ask for. It's getting late now, and I believe the crowd have mostly dispersed. Come everyone, let's begin. I will watch from the side as you all take the pill. Taking 2 steps back, she carefully looks over the group in front of herself in case anything goes wrong. Zheng Qi, being the oldest of the Holy Land elders, took the medicine first as the host here. The rest followed suit next, and swallowed their pill respectively, letting the gushing force spew out of their bodies. Because of how violent the power was, none of them dared to wait, and hurried into a meditative position to begin cultivation. Sure enough, a thunderous rumble rocked the sky as soon as they did that, while the dark looming cloud hovered above their heads, constantly snapping crackling streaks of light at the group beneath it. Haoyuo and her side of the group coped with the electrical strikes fairly well, however. Zheng Qi and the other 4 elders didn't fare so well in this case, due to their old age. Before long, signs of faltering could be seen across Bai Yan's 5 shifus, as their bodies suffered and started to fail in supporting themselves. Bai Yan noticed this change immediately, of course. Hurrying over to Zhongbei, who was the weakest of them all, she went ahead and pushed a nourishing pill into the old senior's mouth to help restore the man's strength. Relieved by the returning color, Bai Yan then went ahead to Qiu Shurong's 3rd side and did the same. While the lady worked profusely to make sure the old-timers were keeping up, Di Xiaowan remained seated in front of the big peach tree nearby, her eyes flickering with curiosity the entire time as Bai Yan worked. Group Breakthrough 5. Strangely enough, none of those lightning strikes would draw near this demon princess despite being at the epicenter of it all. Therefore, everything within 10 li 500 meter had remained untouched from the incident. Sister-in-law. She opens her mouth now after being unable to hold in the doubt. With your strength, you should be able to fend off the lightning strikes. Why don't you help them? Bai Yan chuckled over the obvious question. These are what you call tribulation trials. Though it's dangerous, it's a must for any cultivator to experience it for themselves to help forge their body for the newer rank. Otherwise, they will be at a disadvantage during battle because they only have the power spiritually and not physically. Making an understanding face, the demon princess just had to offer up the most troublesome idea ever. Then this won't do. I also want to be hit by this lightning a few times. After saying that, she promptly stood up and called out to the lightning cloud in an excited manner. Do you not see there's another living person here? What's the meaning of avoiding me? But not only did her demands not help, the dark cloud seems to have a mind of its own, and moved even farther away from the girl. Di Xiaowan literally made a face with black lines running through it at the sight. What's the meaning of this? Are those clouds not giving me face? Just as Di Xiaowan grinded her teeth in frustration, the event was over, and the clouds began to disperse, leaving a pure blue sky in its wake. If it wasn't for the scorched earth and smoking craters here and there, one would not even notice what had happened due to the serenity in the air. Am I at the celestial rank now? Qiu Shurong stood up and laughed hysterically before breaking out into tears. I never could have imagined this day to come so early. Now those animals from the spirit realm can come all they like. If they do, I will make sure they never get to go back. All smiles in the face. You guessed it right, Shifu. Those from the spirit realm will certainly come again. If you hasten your consolidation speed, then the next battle will be yours with ease. Talk about having a turnaround in their attitude. Back when the spirit realm first attacked, these old-timers were cowering and afraid of what's to come. And now they're talking like the other side were no more than prey ready for them to hunt. Shifus, all of you shouldn't be too happy just yet. Even if everyone is at the celestial rank now, there's still different tiers in there. If the spirit realm's main core battle force comes, we might have difficulty coping with it. There's no doubt in her mind that more powerful individuals are still lurking within the ranks of the enemy. Fortunately, Bai Yan has a spy on the other side. At the very least, preparations would be in order if an attack was imminent. Dragoni should be back soon. Staring up in the sky, then as if another thought has come to mind, her gaze locks onto the direction of where the border city should be from where she stood. Since those saint ranks are already anti-contracted by the little missy, then it's safe to include those saint ranks as part of their own forces. Such numbers may not be a match for those celestial ranked masters, but they're plenty useful to clean up the rabbles. Hence the reasoning for Bai Yan to send Dragoni back to the border city. She wants to use these newly acquired slaves. Xiao Wan. Bai Yan abruptly turns around as if recalling something important again. Before Ditsong said he's going to look for Xiachen in the secret domain. Did something happen? The demon princess didn't answer right away like she normally would. Instead, the girl got all hesitant and nervous, a clear sign something was amiss. Tell me, what is my son's condition? Grasping onto the girl's shoulder, Bai Yan's fingers got a bit harsh. Bai Xiachen was her life. If anything happens to the boy, then this mother might as well die along with him. That's the level of importance he was to this woman. Bai Xiachen's missing one. All careful in her voice. Not long ago my brother lost contact with Xiachen. That's why he personally went to the secret domain in search of him. Don't worry, trust in my brother. He will definitely locate my nephew, and they will be all right. Bai Yan did not show any emotions on the face right then, only clenching those fists intently. For a while, Di Xiaowan could not understand what was happening and got all nervous. Sister-in-law. Meek in her voice, the demon princess weakly calls out to try to get something out of the silent woman. It's only temporary, the disconnect. I'm sure brother would never allow Xiachen to be in danger if he allowed him to go there alone. Slowly exhaling a breath like she's releasing some steam. That domain, can I go in? You want to go into that secret domain? Asked the demon princess with concern apparent in her eyes. My son is missing, so I must go in person to see for myself. Otherwise I can't be at ease. But, biting her lower lip, Di Xiaowan hurries to explain the problem. That secret domain is generally reserved for us demons to enter. If a human go in, I fear there will likely be danger to your life despite you already being at the celestial rank. If something happens to sister-in-law, then brother will surely break my leg when he comes back. I can't worry about so much. All I know is that my son is missing and that I have to go. The more she spoke, the sterner and harder that expression became till it's crunched up in pain. Musing for a moment. I have a way for you to go to that secret domain, but you must not tell my brother that it was I who helped you. Otherwise he will definitely kill me afterwards. Okay, I won't tell Ditsong about it. Lowering eyes, a firm light beams out of this woman's iris. No matter the danger, if it's for her boy, then she would bear any danger that comes her way. Sister-in-law then. Follow me. Making a faint nod, Bai Yan turns to Zhengqi first, in order to leave her final instruction to the elder. Shifu, when Dragoni and her group arrives, please give them these Godhood Dan pills. You can decide which is suitable to take them or not. I leave the final decision to you. After saying that, her focus then shifts to the young lad. Wenru, your alchemic talent has always been good. When I come back next time I will help you improve further. By then you can be the one to refine the Godhood Dan pills. Bursting with joy at the promise, the lad smiles right up to the eye. Yin Yen, you're going to teach me your alchemy? Yes, you have the ability to become a 10th grade alchemist. Here, take this recipe book and practice while I'm away. I hope that by the time I return you will already be at the 8th level. Dropping a thick booklet onto the boy's hand, she cocks a wonderful smirk like she's expecting a lot. This didn't escape Qiu Shurong's third eye, making a face with black lines running through it. Sweetie, you can't be so unfair. What about us? You can't just focus on helping him improve and leave us out of it. Well, Shifu, how many years do you think the three of you would take before success can be achieved when refining a 10th grade recipe? Making a helpless gesture, Bai Yan honestly didn't want to be like this. The issue was the three elders were just too ordinary and unskilled in comparison to Wenru. Bai Xiaqin's missing too, holding the item in his hand like it's some sort of treasure. When Ru's expression were all smiles then. Shifus, wait for me to come back first. Then I'll help you all enhance your alchemy, when I have some free time in the future. I believe even if I gave you all the recipes now, you would still be unable to grasp the knowledge on your own. Shaking her head with a bittersweet smile, Bai Yin turns back to the girl behind herself again. Xiaowan, we're leaving now. In a flash, the girls were already gone from this place, due to the insistence of the worrisome mother. Demon Realm inside the palace. First Elder had been staring up in the sky here, when his mind was suddenly yanked back to reality by the appearance of the two familiar figures up ahead. Queen Princess, you're back? Showing a faint smile, the senior happily greets the two new arrival from the front. Landing on the ground, Bai Yin spoke first without hesitation. First Elder, I heard you and State Teacher were busy with something and had to leave. How come it's only you here? Slightly amused and taken aback by the quick question, First Elder didn't mind and frankly answered. That's because State Teacher still had other businesses to take care of, so I returned first. My queen, is something of the matter? Xiaqin is missing. Growing darker in her complexion, the lady states her main reason for coming. Likewise, the senior also grew solemn in the face upon this news. Going silent for a moment, I heard His Highness had went into the secret domain. My queen, do you mean? I want to go into the domain as well. Her voice increasingly more determined and unyielding, showing how much she intends to force the matter if needed to do so. A subtle change of concern swiftly took hold on the elder's face as he frowned on this demand. Queen, I'm afraid. First Elder, Ditsong once said I'm in charge of the demon realm. Now I want to enter that secret domain. So do as I order and send me there. Narrowing her eyes in, that voice grew increasingly sharp as she continued. Don't try to make any excuses. Xiaowan already told me aside from Ditsong and State Teacher, you are the only other person capable of opening a channel into that domain. The poor senior's mouth actually jerked as he twitched from being pointed out. For a good while, no words could come out of that tongue, due to how speechless he became. Then when the old fella finally regained his composure, he immediately turned to the princess with a protesting look of blaming, because that's exactly the sort of excuse he had wanted to make in order to shut the idea down. Di Xiaowan naturally knew what the other side meant by that look. Shrinking her neck in, she promptly took a few steps back to hide behind Bai Yan's figure. First Elder, this is not my fault. You mustn't tattle to my brother when he comes back. Now this time it's the demon princess who's overthinking the matter. Aside from Ditsong being a bit mean to the spoiled girl, no one else in the demon realm would treat this princess unwell. In fact, they pampered her to the point where it's ridiculous. Hence the lawless behavior she has formed over the years. Princess, if Her Highness is all right by the end of it, then of course nothing will come of this incident. However, if something bad happens, then no one can hide the fact, right? Shaking his head, First Elder sighed at the predicament he's now placed in. Shuddering in cold sweat over that explanation, Di Xiaowan immediately turned to Bai Yin for help and tugged at the lady's sleeve. Sister-in-law, you must come back early. Otherwise my brother really will kill me. Bai Xiaqin's missing 3. Don't assume just because Ditsong doesn't hit this girl that he wouldn't. If anything does happen and crosses the man's bottom line, then it would spell the end for her. Di Xiaowan has no delusion of what would happen then. Likely she wouldn't be able to see the next sunrise. I'll be back. All bright and firm in her eyes. First Elder, open a channel for me. I'm going to look for my son. Towards this determined mother, the old-timer just couldn't refuse and issued a long sigh. If Your Highness is so determined, then I won't say any more. However, I have one last question I like to ask before we go. Did you break into the celestial rank? Staring straight at the woman's figure, First Elder grew heavy in the voice as he spoke. Giving a nod. Yes, not long ago I happened to come across an opportunity and made the breakthrough. Then Queen, do you know how the level is divided within the celestial rank? Bai Yin shook her head, showing this was the first she's heard of this. I don't know. Let me explain then. After all, It will just be a matter of time before you meet a celestial rank once you enter the secret domain. Giving a faint smile, the senior inhales a long deep breath like it's going to be a long one. Truth is, we don't call our level the celestial rank at all once we hit this stage. The power difference is just too distinct and drastic on each tier, so we would treat it like a whole different level within the rank. Like for example, my queen, you've just made the breakthrough, so we would call you the bottom divine level. Then what comes afterward? She asks with a frown. That would of course be the middle divine, followed by the high divine. Take that spirit lord, he is a middle divine. Caressing her chin, Bai Yin muses over this newfound knowledge for a while before finally speaking up again with a smile. I understand. Can you take me to the secret domain now? Of course, if that's your wish, my queen. Giving one last glance at the demon princess, First Elder then promptly led the desperate mother away for entrance's location. Bai Yin didn't say more, and quietly followed from behind. She's wholeheartedly invested on this trip, and has no intention of coming back out until she locates her boy. Inside a valley, a man with his hand crossed behind the back stood firmly in place atop of this land riddled with fallen leaves of maple. Meanwhile in the back, a group of armed guards silently waited his next order. Is your information accurate? My son is in this place? Ditsong's voice sounded demanding and harsh, like he's going to murder them if the answer said otherwise. Then again, this man did promise his wife that their son would be fine even if allowed to enter this place on his own. Clearly that promise didn't stand since the boys has gone missing. Yes, Majesty. We've got eyewitness account that His Highness the Prince was last seen in this area. He was kidnapped by the members of the Sky Clan. Sky Clan. If I remember correctly, the Sky Clan belonged to the Celestial Realm, and was later expelled due to a crime they committed. To think they are hiding here of all places. Growing cold and murderous in his aura now, Ditsong's expression became unreadable. I don't care who they are. Hurting son will be punished by death. Slowly raising his hand to issue the command. Demons, heed my order, slay every member of the Sky Clan. Yes, your majesty. Taking to their knees, their voices were strong and powerful when complying. By Xiaoqin's missing for. At this order, the demons gathered here today immediately began to charge towards the upper reaches of this valley, their momentum full of murderous intent as their feet trampled the ground. Ditsong didn't join in on the main fight, only watching this unfold from above in the air. Nevertheless, his attention did eventually get pulled when a loud holler caught his ear from the small settlement. Who is so bold to come make trouble at our Sky Clan? The voice clear and crisp, causing even the smoke to clear somewhat in the battlefield, as that bright red figure made its way to the forefront. This individual was a beautiful woman with a dominant air to her existence, yet she still carried the sort of charm that's expected of the type who's well experienced in seducing the opposite sex. At first she was still brimming with anger over the attack, but that instantly changed as soon as she noticed that enticing figure of a man up ahead. There's a look of astonishment and stunned outlook in the woman's face. The main reason being how much of a drought it's been for these poor females of the Sky Clan after they moved here. A female still needs comforting, and when compared to the two boys they kidnapped the other day, this one clearly had more of a manly charm to him. Hello there, handsome. If you are visiting us, then you should at least send someone to inform our tribe. Why cry death and battle so suddenly? What, are you picking on us just because our tribe only has females in our roster? Licking her lip like she's already unable to hold back the insatiable desire to mate with this man, the female, who's the obvious leader of these Amazonians, spoke with a voice of playfulness. Disgusted by the gaze he's receiving, Ditsong crunches up that face and spoke with harshness. Bring my son out, and I will let you die with your bodies intact. Ha ha ha. The woman bursts out laughing, very much amused by the laughable joke she's heard. There's sarcasm and contempt in the lady's eye. Oh beautiful, we of the Sky Clan are lonely and suffering, you know. In order to quell our pain, we will take any passing men to become our playthings. Since you are here now, you can forget about leaving, become me and my sister's toy. Retracting the cold frosty air in her eyes, the woman throws out a charming wink at her supposed victim. Ditsong's aura instantly grew menacing, because he knew what she's trying to do. Waving his arm, a powerful force repels whatever she's trying to do and throws a counterattack right back. Surprised and shocked by the ineffectiveness of her own charm, a pang of anger erupted out of this woman's face, but not before she got hit in chest and had to take several steps backward. Now there's only panic left in the eye. How can our clan's seduction spell not work on you? In this world, there are many races who study the art of seductive charm, but there's no other group more capable than the foxes. Since Song here was a fox himself, it's only normal for the woman's charm to fail. Speak, where's my son? Encroaching in on the female, Song's pressuring gaze was now starting to make the other side stammer and break out in cold sweat. I did grab 2 boys that was passing by not long ago, but I don't know which one you're talking about. Expressionless. My son is of course the most eye-catching among the crowd one. By Xiaqin's missing 5. What you're saying is that one, the one who looks better than a fairy and is sculpted from jade itself, that child? Based on how timid her voice has become, it's obvious the earlier arrogance has died out in this lady's attitude. I think he's in the altar room right now. Only after hearing that did Song retract his oppressive aura, leaving the female to gather a breath. Sadly, his next words that followed threw her into the ice again. You bunch watch over her. He orders the demons from behind. If my son is missing even a strand of hair, then all of you will die. So, you better pray that he is not hurt, or be prepared for the consequences. Her fate has been sealed since the moment she made a move against the boy. She's doomed, along with her clan. That's regardless of Bai Xiaqin being hurt or not. It doesn't matter at this point. The place of offering and worship wasn't that far away, merely at the other side of the valley. Here, in this dimly lit tiny room where the altar stood, was Bai Xiaqin with his hands tied behind his back, that mouth stuffed and covered by a handkerchief. The boy's been awake and alert for a while now, but he never once tried anything until he's sure the ones in charge of watching him from the outside were gone. With this perfect opportunity before him, Bai Xiaqin didn't need to wait and forced a tug around his arm. With a snap, the rope binding his hands were torn, leaving him free to crawl over to the other boy that's with him. Luckily the latter wasn't bound by anything, only unconscious, making it all the more easier to carry out the following escape plan he's had in mind. Wake up, hey wake up! He gently pushes the kid's body in an attempt to get a reaction. Sadly his efforts were in vain, scratching the back of his head over this dilemma. What to do? He's obviously been drugged by those ladies from earlier. Thankfully I'm immune to every poison out there. Otherwise I might be in the same situation when they fed me that thing. It's then an idea suddenly hit the little steam bun when his brain worked up to here. Pulling out all the pill containers in his possession, Bai Xiaqin wavered as he stared left and right over what he had. Which of these candy beans can detoxify the sleeping drug? Damn it, I should have paid more attention to Mother's lesson when I was studying. Wrinkling his cute little nose from the self-annoyance, the boy grew furious and decides to pop one out from each container. Oh, who cares? You're also a demon, so it doesn't matter if I feed you everything. One of these should remove that drug inside you. In one sweeping gesture, he directly stuffs the handful of Dan pills into the other child's mouth and allowed it to flow. Thankfully these are all high-quality medicine directly made by Bai Yin herself. As soon as the objects touched saliva, they would melt and become liquid form inside the kid's mouth, making the job of feeding all the more easier. Gradually opening those eyes, the unconscious boy eventually locks onto the little steam bun staring down at himself. Are you here to save me? Raising a bright smile, Bai Xiaqin proudly cocks his tiny chin upward. That is of course, otherwise how will those fools catch me? Wild ambition 1. Moved to the point of showing tears in the corner of those eyes, the little boy wanted to say something more to show his gratitude when he suddenly remembered their own predicament, hurrying to cry out. But those people are very powerful. You need to leave and not worry about me. No, my mother said it before that a man must know how to repay a debt. Little leopard, you helped me before, so I must save you. In a forceful tug, Bai Xiachen didn't give any room for refusal, and pulled the other boy along with him towards the doorway. Little leopard, follow me closely from this point forward. I will take you away to safety. When Bai Xiachen reached the doorway, his steps gradually slowed to a tiptoeing pace for fear of disturbing anyone that might still be outside. However, his prudence was for naught because when he tried to push at the door to make a crack for peeking, he immediately discovered there's a chain locked around the knobs. Understanding the problem, he inhales deeply and musters up a force around the fingers. This time around when he made a push, the power he summoned instantly snapped the metallic chains on the other side. Okay, we're good now. Come little leopard, we need to leave this place. Scurrying about from one point to the other, the pair were able to make great progress in this dark place, due to Bai Xiachen's exceptional memory. When he was being brought to the altar room, the little steam bun made sure to memorize the directions, so this was just him recollecting his previous steps. Who is it? Just then, a petite voice suddenly came from the rear, and causes the leopard boy to fall into panic on that cute little face. Don't be afraid, I said I'll protect you. Patting his friend's shoulder, the little steam bun promises with an air of assurance. Perhaps it's the way he spoke, or just the way he acted, but it did manage to calm the frightened boy's heart. Turning around, Bai Xiachen confronts the group that has caught them from behind. It's a bunch of ladies, all scantily dressed with barely any clothing covering their body parts aside from the crucial two parts. They were all eyeing the two boys with sharp looks like they're very unhappy right now. We're only passing through, can you beautiful sisters let us pass? All bright and innocent, Bai Xiachen does his usual talk of persuasion. Under normal circumstances, this effort to charm the female sex would have worked without problem. However, this was the Sky Clan. These boys, weren't they the ones brought back by Lady Mei Ling before? One of the maids apparently recognizes the two and pointed this out. If I remember right, Lady Mei Ling should have fed them some sleeping drug. How did they wake up so early? No matter, they're caught now so they can forget about escaping. No one runs from our Sky Clan. That said, the group of ladies promptly charged with their blades drawn. Beaming with a sharp light at the open hostility, Bai Xiachen rapidly pushes his friend further back to make some space. Do you think I would be afraid of you people when I'm the prince? I will protect Mother in the future so you're nothing to me. Wild ambition too. A formidable force has now exploded out of Bai Xiachen's tiny little figure, causing even the air around himself to gush outwards like a hurricane. Boom! Under that torrent of wind, those who attempted to approach the boy were knocked away instantly, giving the little steam bun the opening he needed to grab the leopard boy's hand to make a mad dash for the other way. Little leopard, let's go. At the main gateway of the Sky Clan, Deetsong's dark gaze continues to scan the area until his sight fell upon the torrent of wind blowing up from afar. Xiachen, in a flash of purplish light, his body shot towards the epicenter of this event. When he arrived, there's already nothing left, only rubbles and a bunch of maids constantly groaning from the pain, and the occasional blood puking out of their lips. Speak, where is my son? Coming before one of the injured, Deetsong harshly glares down at the lady who's barely able to look up. They've left. The maid squirms once her sight clears up a bit, and recognizes the frosty look coming down at herself. Where did they go? He asks again with a totally unreadable face. I didn't see clearly, there were too much sand and wind, so by the time I came back to my senses they were already gone. The maid trembled as she answered, her heart filled with endless terror when she noticed what the man was doing. Deetsong have already raised his hand by then, and from it was a purplish flame. When he released it, the fire instantly engulfs the injured here, and slowly melted their flesh and body away like magma meeting rock. Sire. A group of demons also gathered due to the noise, their bodies kneeling to await their next order. I don't care if you turn this valley upside down. Go find my son. He shouldn't have gone too far. Cocking a cold smirk over what he's going to say next. As for the Sky Clan and its members, leave none alive. They can pay with their blood for making a move against my son. Under normal circumstances, Deetsong wouldn't even need to make such a huge scene about finding the boy. He could have just used his nose to track the scent. Unfortunately, there are various obstacles here stopping him from doing so. The main one being the differing laws governing this pocket dimension. It's affecting his ability to smell. Of course, the Demon King here was well aware of this fact, and deliberately gave his own son a beaconing charm. It's so he could tell where the boy was at all times. Sadly, the little rascal actually lost the damn thing, forcing Deetsong to do all this for a simple rescue mission. Yes, sire. Bowing their head, the demons promptly spread apart in every direction without looking back. At the higher parts of the valley, Bai Xiachen and Little Leopard had just ran out of breath from running so fast out of the settlement. They're tired but relieved at the same time. Wild ambition 4. And this time, he won't let his friend Little Leopard suffer any more damage. A man must shoulder responsibility in life. That's what his mother said. Aha! The leopard boy nods and came out again with renewed confidence. You are my only friend, so I believe in you. Though there's no more fear left on the kid's face, but the cheeks were still flushing red as he stared back at the townspeople. Elder, are you seeing this? Not far away from where Bai Xiachen stood was a young man wearing a light blue robe. He's currently eyeing the two boys while fanning himself like a young scholar. Young lord, I saw it very clearly. The boy with the more exquisite face is the one those from the demon realm are seeking. With a placking sound, the youth folds his fan in one smooth motion and coldly spoke again. According to the forefathers, we were once also members of the demon realm, but because of a mistake our forefathers made, those at the throne threw us out and banished our clan into this domain. Originally, we should be happy to be able to come here. After all, the demon realm's foundation is damaged during the Great War. Getting cold in the eyes now upon bringing the subject up. But those accursed beings cursed us, forever sealing our ability to advance in the celestial rank here. They could have just left us alone. Instead, they ordered us to forever guard over this stretch of land for them, and not let us reap the benefits. The more he spoke about the past and the conditions placed on him and his kin, the more outspoken and harsher his voice became. What do you have in mind, my lord? The old man asks after a moment of thought, showing a rippling smirk regarding that question. I want to make use of this demon prince. Once I capture him, then that demon king will only have two choices to make. First is to release us from this prison, then it's to hand over the throne to me and break the limit on our bodies. Showing hardness in the eye, the youth flicks open his fan again using that expressionless face. Young lord, what plan do you have in mind? At first the senior that's with the youth was stunned by that proclamation, but he quickly came back to his senses after weighing the cons and pros. It's true forcing someone to do their bidding would be difficult, but it's not entirely impossible. They do have their method, and as it so happens, they have it right here in their hands. If he loses his memory, then wouldn't it be easy to control him? The youth sneers. Our Zhang House's forefathers were stupid. I'm not going to be like them, guarding this domain just because others told them to. The old man's heart trembled then. For some unknown reason, he couldn't help but feel uneasy when listening to his young lord's words. My lord, shouldn't we let the chief know first? No need. The young man shows a dark look. That old thing is so cowardly. He will only hinder our plans and get in the way. If you want our demon wolf clan relive its glory days again, then follow my orders. I will lead us to greatness. Wild ambition 5. While the two were scheming behind their backs, the leopard boy himself was busy scanning the streets with curiosity in his eyes. Everything was new to this young kid, and like any child, the fanciful and fun things are always the most eye-catching. However, when his sight fell upon the two figures in front that staring straight at himself, he immediately shrank his neck in and snuck behind the little steam bun again, due to the anxiety he felt from the unknown. Looking up at the intervention, Bai Xiaoqin's brow began to furrow inwardly as he asked, "Grandpa, uncle, do you need something?" With a fake smile, the young man makes a greeting gesture. "Greetings, Highness." Blinking his eyes in surprise, the little steambun quickly follows up. "Do you know me? We are members of the demonic wolf clan, and subjects to His Majesty. Under the king's order, we have been instructed to search for you, my prince, and to bring you to our home so news can be passed along to His Majesty." Since the tone sounded sincere and the fact that the other side's also a demon, Bai Xiaoqin didn't question the truth in that statement. "Batty father is looking for me? Oh, it's all my fault. I lost that beaconing charm when I got injured last time, and still can't locate it. If you are acting under Batty father's instruction, then go ahead and inform him. I can wait at your home until then." Normally he would reject the offer, but since he's afraid of Di Tsong being worried for himself, the kid finally nodded and said yes. "Please your highness, this way." While under the cover of his own bowing head, the youth smirks at his own success. Reaching out to hold his friend's hand, "Come little leopard, we will go with him. Oh yes, prepare some food for my friend, he likes to eat meat." "As you wish, my prince." Zhang Yu young wolfing, cups his hand in compliance. The elder on the side had wanted to say something here, but ended up sighing in the end. He knew his words won't change the young wolfing's mind. Oh, forget it. The young lord has never been one to admit defeat before others, even if it means using underhanded methods at times. Such a personality won't be persuaded just because of caution. Bai Xiaoqin didn't think so much. He's too full of joy to worry about a trap being laid before himself. To the demon prince, he's all about leaving this secret domain once his old man comes. By then, he could run back to his mother and be the good little son that he was. An involuntarily smile blooms out of that face, those eyes full of laughter at the thought. Zhang Yu continued to walk in front right now. To this young wolfing, he's unable to keep his happiness contained at this point, because he could already see himself basking in glory. That demon king loves his own son so much. That's why he's going to give me everything I demand of him. The Wolf Manor. Where's our room? The little steambun briskly asks after stepping through the doorway like he owns the place. Zhongyu's scheme 1. Yes, Highness. I will have the maids ready the rooms for you. Please come with me first. Zhang Yu signals the old man behind himself, while he himself led the two boys away for the temporary guest rooms. The old man naturally knew what that look meant. After a moment of musing, he immediately walked in the opposite direction to carry out the plan. "Uncle Wolf." Bai Xiaoqin suddenly stopped. "When will my father come?" This careless and unthoughtful question actually scared the daylights out of Zhong Yu. The young man thought he's been discovered, so he began to tense up. However, he quickly realizes it's his own guilt that's playing here, and his rattled nerves soon settled down. "I'll send someone to inform the king right away. I believe it won't be more than a few days before he comes." Grinning with a huge smile at the news. "Then that's great. I hope Uncle Wolf isn't trying to deceive me just because I'm a child. Otherwise my mother will be very angry. Just so you know, even my batty father will get scared if she's like that." It's unsure why, but the little guy's words have had the direct effect of make Zhang Yu fall into a panic. He's sure that his lie has worked, and that the prince didn't suspect a thing. Yet why? Why does he have such an ominous feeling? Awkwardly laughing like he's trying to shirk off the unease, the young wolf attempts to move the topic along. "Don't worry, Prince. No one here will dare to or be able to deceive you. I'd still like to trust Uncle Wolf." The boy's returning smile seemed very innocent and very true. "Uncle, I'm starting to feel tired, so don't let anyone come disturb me later when I'm resting." "Of course, Your Highness." Complying by lowering his head, one only needs to take a peek to discover that insidious light in those eyes of this wolfing. Done with that, Bai Xiaoqin turns back to the room in question. He didn't make up the part about wanting to rest, so when he pushed open the door, the first thing he did was to close it and get on the bed. With the blanket reaching all the way to his face, the kid appeared troubled with worry. "Will Mother find out since I lost the beaconing charm? She must know if Batty Father knows. Oh, what to do? Mother must be so worried about me. I better be good and wait for Batty Father to come pick me up. so I can go back as soon as possible. I miss mother's scent so much, I want to go back. No. Shaking his little head like he's trying to throw away the thought. I'm not 3 anymore. I must learn to be independent. Only by being an adult then can I protect mother. It's then the door to the room was suddenly pushed open, and in came a maid. The girl carried a tray with a bowl of soup that she placed on the table. Prince, I've come to bring you soup. It's the young lord's instruction, because he's worried about you being hungry. Please enjoy while it's hot. Although Bai Xiachen did give explicit instruction not to be disturbed, but he's a good child. As per Bai Yan's teaching, those who offer kindness must be returned with kindness. Hence his lovely smile at the servant girl. Thank you, sister. The maid's face went red from blushing. She's been thoroughly won over and germinated by the kid's adorableness, so it took her a good while to come back to reality. Moments later when he was left alone again, Bai Xiachen didn't hesitate, and quickly came before the table to get his first whiff of the delicious-smelling liquid. However, right as the drool was coming out, his nose immediately picked up another sentient here, and that caused his face to sink into a scowl. Zhong Yu's scheme too. Squeak, with creaking of the door for the second time today, the young man known as Zhong Yu steps through. When he saw how ugly the kid's expression was towards the filled bowl of soup, his face instantly sank from the picture. My prince, this soup, is it not to your taste? Squinting up his eyes, Bai Xiachen began examining the new entry up and down like he's thinking of something, and on what his next course of action should be. Under that scrutinizing gaze, Zhang Yu found himself starting to tense up in fear. What's going on? Did this kid figure it out? No. It's impossible. Us demonkin have no knowledge in regards to alchemy. And this Dan pill is something I bought from a human years ago. That person said it can make the taker lose their memory, so the prince couldn't have known the soup is drugged. Half a minute later, Bai Xiachen's boisterous laugh suddenly broke out and brought the other side back to attention. Of course not, Uncle Wolf. How can I refuse your good intention? Picking up the bowl, the kid takes a big swing at the liquid and gulps down the entire thing in one move. When done, he didn't forget to wipe the corner of his mouth to emphasize how much he enjoyed the flavor. Seeing this, Zhang Yu inherently felt relieved and laughed aloud as well. Please get some rest, my prince. I will go down first and come back later to organize everything. All right. Saying nothing more, the boy went ahead and turned to the bed again. When he did so, the little steam bun deliberately covered part of his mouth to hide that sneaky smirk he was making. It's unsure how much time has passed, but by the time Zhang Yu returned to check up on the occupant, he was already showing off his real face of cold light. Brother Yu. Coming up from behind was a young woman of similar age to the male. She's also eyeing the little boy currently sleeping on the bed with her own gaze. Is this the crown prince from the demon realm? He gives a slight nod as confirmation. Cece, you must remember, from this point forward you are his mother, and he is your child. Don't worry, brother Yu, fifth elder have already told me everything. Making a bright smile at the mention of their plan. I will do everything within my power to help you. You can be confident in my acting. Unbeknownst to the two scheming individuals though, the sleeping little guy had jerked so slightly due to their conversation. Nevertheless, the reaction was a brief one, and quickly returned to the quiet state from before. Xiachen, wake up. Slowly opening his eyes with a frown, Bai Xiachen found himself being confronted with a smiling and tender face. It's that of a woman's around the age of 20-something, a young one and barely older than his own mother's. Towards the sluggish and silent stare from the boy, Cece's wolf lady, reaction was to turn to the man behind herself for instruction. Understanding he should take the lead, Zhang Yu smiles and came forward. Xiachen, you were attacked before, so your memory isn't so good right now due to the injury. I am your father, and this is your mother. Now do you know us? Bai Xiachen didn't answer still, only staring up at the man and woman standing there. Towards this display, Zhang Yu began to doubt himself, and made a furrowed look. This shouldn't be. Did the drug make the kid go stupid? It was supposed to only make him lose his memories, not wipe his mind completely to the point of damaging it. Exchanging a look between themselves, The wolf lady known as Cece went ahead to bring the little steam bun into a warming hug. It's the type of a kind mother's embrace, which was exactly what she's trying to go for. Zhongyu's Scheme 3. If you don't want to call us father and mother, then that's fine. You only need to remember we're your family, and that's enough. Oh yes, we have an eternal enemy, and his name is Ditsong. He's also the one who tried to kill you. Lowering his eyes to hide that frosty glint when they said that. It's obvious by Xiaoqin's will to murder these lying bastards has been lit. Cece, let's go, we need to let him get some rest. I'm sure he'll slowly come to accept us with time. Making a small chuckle, Zhongyu didn't bother to hide the malice in his voice, due to the impression that he's succeeded. He has taken the medicine anyways, so he can forget about remembering the past in this lifetime. Okay. Cece nods and released her arms around the boy and got up from the bed. But not before giving one final glance at the sluggish-looking kid, who only stared at their backs while they departed. Regaining the light in his eyes after being left alone again, Bai Xiaoqin restored the cunning look on his face, and immediately rose from the bed. He's scanning his surroundings with vigilance in case those wolves returned for a third time. Once certain they aren't going to come back, the boy's first order of business was to locate the leopard boy, who's currently sleeping on the bed next room over. Those people must have fed little leopard some sort of sleeping drug. Biting his lip like he's tied between an idea, Bai Xiaoqin suddenly grew tough in the face when he pulled out a small dagger from out of nowhere. In a flick, he makes a small wound on the tip of his finger, and allowed the blood to seep into the other boy's lip. Good thing mother fed me all those Dan pills, since I was a baby. Now I'm immune to almost every poison out there, and can use my blood to use as an antidote. Before long, the leopard kid fluttering those befuddled eyes open like he's really confused on what's happening. Xiaoqin. Shhhhhhh. In his haste, Bai Xiaoqin only knew to cusp his hand around the careless kid's mouth, in order to stop him from making any more noise. Don't say anything, those wolves will hear us. Startled and confused, little leopard didn't understand what his friend meant by that, but still did as told. That group of bad people fed us some drug, but they didn't know I'm immune, because I've been eating various herbs and medicinal ingredients since I was young. I only needed a whiff to tell, so I went along with their plan, and used it to my advantage. Huffing a snort to gloat, think they can scheme behind my back? Don't they know I am immune to all poison? Then shouldn't we make a run for it? Asked the leopard boy with nervous eyes, shaking his head. No, I can't just leave like this. They must pay for trying to use my against my batty father. That. The little leopard sounded worried still. I'm going to wait here for batty father. They want to use me, so he will definitely come for me. Evoking a sly smile, he shows off why the foxes are so cunning. They will work for me whether they like it or not. The little leopard boy continues to blink his eyes in bafflement. Although the kid doesn't understand what his friend's trying to do, but he knows Bai Xiaoqin couldn't be wrong. Okay, I'll stay with you here until your father comes. I'm not leaving without you, Xiaoqin. Don't worry, little leopard, they can't hurt you. Patting his friend's shoulder, the little steam bun reassures the other boy with his confident smile. Also, I need you to keep pretending like you've lost your memory. Otherwise my plan will be exposed. I understand. The leopard kid solemnly nods to show how much emphasis he has regarding the instruction. Done with what he needs to do, Bai Xiaoqin swiftly left his friend's room, like a little ghost that he was. Perhaps it's how confident Zhang Yu felt about his plan working. But there were no guards or patrols placed around their rooms, so sneaking around was a piece of cake. Zhang Yu's Scheme 4. At this moment, at a not-so-far-away peak next to this township, a woman now stands staring down from above at the terrain as the bristling wind blew against her dress. The eyes she showed were sharp and bright. This domain doesn't look all that different from the world outside. Now I just need to find Xiaoqin and get him back. Loosening her frown after that small muttering remark to herself, she promptly left the spot in a flash to head for the township at the bottom of the valley. Meanwhile, at the same time this was occurring, Ditsong was currently acting increasingly more annoyed, as he sat on the throne seat in the Sky Clan settlement. Is there still no news about my son's whereabout? Sire, we've searched everywhere around the area. There's no sign of the prince yet. The guard answers with a nervous tremble. That was not the right answer, causing the oppressive man's aura to swoop over devour the poor soldier's existence until he's choking for air. Thankfully, it's then another figure came running over from the doorway to stop the act. Kneeling there, the person carefully spoke. Sire, we've just received a letter from an outsider. The stranger said it was for you. Bring it forward. He growled with a menacing voice. Yes, your majesty. In his hurry to comply, the soldier nearly tripped on his own 2 feet when trying to hand over the letter. As annoyed as he was over the incapability of his own men, Song didn't have the patience to punish the second individual's carelessness. Tearing apart the cover, he only needed a quick glance at the letter's content to grow dark and hard in the face. Gather everyone, we're heading to Longtown now. Rapidly rising from the throne chair, his maneuver allowed the letter to slowly flutter to the floor for everyone to see. If the king wants to see the little prince, then he will come to the demonic wolf clan's home. In an instant, all faces were changing in various ways, but all had the same thought in mind. The prince is at the demonic wolf's clan's place? But before they could dwell on the issue any further, Song had already left them for the outside, forcing the rest to quickly follow suit. Lucky they did so too, because right as the dangerous man was off the grounds of this settlement, a huge gulf of purplish instantly lights up across the Sky Clan's home, destroying and incinerating the structure and grounds. Wolf Manor. Leaning his head against the bedside rail, Xiachen appeared bored as he stared forward in a mindless state. He's thinking of something, just don't know what. It's then the door was pushed open by a hand. Looking over, he could see it was young woman walking over. Xiachen, you're awake? Carrying a tray of dainty pastries with her, CC Wolf Lady sounded gentle and kind as she spoke. Mother prepared some snacks for you. Come, try some. I'm sure you are hungry by now. Not rejecting the offer, the little steam bun first picked up a pastry to take a sniff. When his nose found nothing wrong with it, his expression promptly relaxed. It's not poisonous. But the thought only lasted a bite before the kid spit the stuff back out. So gross, it's nasty. Who made this food? Are they trying to hurt me with this? Cece's face was stiff as a rock right now. She just couldn't believe how the little fella could detest her cooking so much. This wolf lady could swear that in this long town, her cooking skills are top-notch. Even if it's not he best, it's among one of the best and couldn't be matched. However, one good thing did come out of this for her, and that was Xiachen's willingness to speak. Thank goodness this child is not a retard and a mute. Xiachen, this is what mother here made for you. Don't you like it? Flickering with a light in his big blue eyes, Xiachen's cuddly and cute face revealed a bright smile when meeting the wolf lady's gaze. Zhongyu's Scheme 5. Are you really my mother? The young woman ticked the corner of her mouth into an upward arc over that question. That is, of course. If I'm not your mother, then why would you be here? That made the boy sneer inside. Why am I here? Of course that's because you people scammed me here. Naturally, the little steam bun wouldn't show any of that on his face, only staring cluelessly like he should when he's supposed to have lost his memories. But according to my memories, my mother's cooking should be very delicious, far better than the best cooks out there. This pastry, though, it doesn't seem to match up to what I recall. Cece just gawked her eyes there. Didn't brother you claim this boy has lost his memories? Why is he still remembering the past? At least he only remembers the Demon Queen's cooking skill, and not the person herself. Maybe I'm getting rusty for not cooking so long. How about I make another plate of pastry for you? Is that fine, Xiachen? She asks with a forced smile this time around. Her mission was to please this little guy, but that doesn't mean she's genuinely happy to be doing so. Okay, grinning wide on his cuddly little face. I want to eat dongpu trotter flour chicken, mapo tofu and stewed chicken eggplant. Cece's facade nearly crumbled in that split second under his barrage of naming. She's the Lady of the Wolves, a noble and prestigious existence in these parts. It's bad enough to ask someone of her standing to work in the kitchen, But couldn't he have at least named some exquisite dish instead of those? Those rambunctious stuff? Flour chicken? Mapo tofu? Is that something a person of my capacity should do? Xiaochen, these dishes are too ordinary. Can you change it to some more exquisite dishes? Restraining her urge to smack the boy, Cece awkwardly asks with a stiff smile. Looking reluctant, Bai Xiaochen gives a nod in accordance with the demand. Then I want to eat dragon meat. It must be the kind that has lived for more than 1,000 years. A splurge of essence blood nearly came spewing out of Cece's throat just then. Dragon meat? And the type that has lived for 1,000 years at that? Where in the world am I supposed to find that? Is that hard? Making a frown, the little steam bun then went ahead to knock on his own head like he's remembered something. I just had a dream. In there, Mother would feed me dragon meat, and it tasted great. Although I couldn't see Mother's appearance clearly, but I know it is Mother's figure when she fed me the dish. Of course, his story there was nothing more than a prank. He's a demon, and dragons are also demons. There's no way he would eat his own kin. However, that doesn't change the fact that he's enjoying his own little play on toying with this deceitful, which that's trying to impersonate his own mother. Just watching that steaming yet unable to vent face was enough to delight the cunning little troublemaker. That's what you get for trying to deceive and use me. Xiaochen, there's no more dragons in this place. Growing stern, a strong light beams out of the fox lady's eye after she managed to calm her inner anger. Those dragons, I have already fed you all of them, so there's none left. Now it was Bai Xiaochen's turn to choke at the shamelessness of this exchange. He expected all sorts of excuses and lies from this imposter. But to say he himself has ate all the dragons? Whoa, that really takes some skill to pull off. That? Getting sly as well, the kid grows a smirky grin as well. Then I want chicken soup. And I want you to eat it with me. All right. Issuing a sigh of relief. Wait just a minute, I'll get it ready. After saying this, Cece made sure to leave quickly, so that the boy wouldn't make any more difficult request. Looking at her panicking and scrambling figure that's practically fleeing from view, Bai Xiaochen just couldn't help but release a chuckling laugh at his own achievement. Now all he has to do was to await for the chicken soup, so he could carry out the second phase of his prank. The little devil won. He did not need to wait long for the wolf lady to return. This time around, she's carrying a large bowl of chicken soup in hand with a heart of resentment. Xiaochen, the chicken soup that you wanted. Ready and prepared. Bai Xiaochen's first act was to pick up the chopstick, so he could pass on the chicken, but to the lady's bowl. You eat too. As expected, it is Xiaochen who cares about Mother here the most. Perhaps it's how moved she was at being served a piece. But the lady didn't have a second thought when she stuffed the chicken, but into her mouth after taking a seat. However, all it took was a bite before she spat the chunk of fatty flesh out. In her haste, she immediately grabbed a handkerchief to wipe her frowning mouth. What is this? Chicken butt, is this not your favorite food? Answering without so much as blinking an eye, Bai Xiaochen sounded so innocent and true that it's hard to doubt his sincerity. Sadly, this news was a huge blow to the wolf lady's mental stability. If she had known the piece she just placed in her mouth was a chicken, but then she would have removed it even before she made the soup. That's a huge blunder on her part due to inexperience. And now she's suffering for it. For a second, the lady felt like her very bile would spill out due to the disgust she felt. Mother, you have changed. Bai Xiaochen's little mouth had curled into a displeased pucker like he's about to cry. You used to like eating it a lot. Is it because I'm the one who gave it to you that you are vomiting? Pumping a twitch in the corner of her mouth. How? How could that be? Then why did you spit it out, Mother? Asked the boy with a layer of water filling his crystal-like eyes. Inhaling deeply knowing she's been cornered, Cece knew she had no choice and slowly picked up the chicken, but again with her chopstick. When those fingers felt the resistance from the clamping force she herself applied, the lady could already imagine the puking image in her mind. But still, she stuffed it into her mouth in one forceful chug and swallowed. That was it, that's the last straw. Grabbing her handkerchief, Cece literally covered her mouth and fled for the outside, due to the horrific sensation. When her figure disappeared completely, The laughter of the boys chuckling could still be heard throughout the room. This is just the beginning. If you people dare to impersonate my family, then you can forget about having it easy. Then, as if to add salt to the injury, Bai Xiachen went ahead to take a sip of the soup. Unfortunately, he too had made a mistake and found the flavor disgust, forcing him to spit it back out like a shooting fountain. It's no wonder she puked. This is so nasty, it's hundreds of times worse than mother's cooking. Done with the goofy prank, he decides to just leave the mess for others to clean, and took his place back in bed. Within the courtyard of the Wolf Manor, Cece had just finished running out of the guest rooms, where she found a quiet corner to throw up. She's still trying to reach down with her fingers to force everything back out from the throat. Cece. It's exactly then that a familiar voice came from behind. When the lady recognized who it was, she immediately reached out to grab at the man's sleeve. Brother, you that child, he is the devil. He is the devil. Cece, what are you going on about? He frowned and swipes the hand away with impatient clear in his voice. Brother, you, I don't want to be the child's mother anymore. He is a little devil. If I continue, then I will go crazy. She's now hissing hysterically like she's about to lose her mind. I've already informed the king that his son's here. The person will be here soon. What do you expect us to do if we give up on the little prince? Are you trying to destroy our demonic wolf clan? The little devil, too. Zhang Yu's tone was strong and powerful, forcing the wolf lady to cower down and not say another word. Enough, go back and please the boy like you're supposed to. Also, drug his food some more. I want to make him completely obedient to me for use. He orders with a frosted tint in those eyes, almost sobbing in her voice now. Brother, you that boy, did he really lose his memories? You think I'm wrong? That drug is something I tested before. There can't be any mistake, nor will he remember anything from before. The young wolf said it with such assurance that he could literally fool himself despite it being a lie. On the other hand, the wolf lady just felt wrong about all this. Sure, she's submitted and won't object anymore, but the aching suspicion just won't leave her heart. Then what about the other child the prince brought along? What should we do with him? Don't worry about him. I gave the kid the drug as well just to be on the secure side. He's not going to a hindrance. This left Cece rather puzzled. But why don't we just kill him then? Why bother making him only have amnesia? Snickering deviously. Did you not see the leopard kid's talent? Our demonic wolf clan is in need of talented people right now. If we have that boy trained, then it won't be that far off before we get a useful pawn. Making an astonished face of enlightenment, the wolf lady now looked on at Zhongyu with admiration. She's feeling rather ashamed of herself, because these are the sorts of things that would never cross her mind. I understand then, brother, you. No matter how terrible and evil that little devil is, I'll do my best to please him. I'm glad you understand. A heaviness lifts off from the young wolf's heart over that promise, crossing the hands behind his back like he's some sort of experienced elder. It won't be long now, Cece. Our time will soon come and the glory days of our demonic wolf clan will return. Good thing that old man isn't at home. Otherwise my plans will be extremely difficult to carry out. He's always so timid and afraid, nothing like me at all. Next couple of days, the atmosphere around the Wolf Manor has completely changed from its previous peaceful nature and became an explosion of commotion. Toying with the wolf lady had only been just the start of the little steambun's devious scheme. He had plenty more to do. First was to burn the entire kitchen down, forcing the household to turn to the outside restaurants for food. Then came the treasury vault here. Just like how he tortured the 3 elders of the Holy Land, Bai Xiachen directly raided the precious items held in there before completely burning the segment of the manor down to a crisp. There's nothing left by the end of it, only a roasting smell in the air, and the charcoal remains of the structure. It's not good, brother, you. That kid burned down father's treasury vault. Bang! Zhongyu was just in the middle of enjoying a fine cup of tea at the restaurant when he overheard the panicking cry of the wolf lady, dropping the porcelain in his hand. What did you just say? That kid burned father's treasury vault. Sweating and anxious in her voice. What should we do, brother, you? Father definitely won't forgive us once he finds out after returning. Returning from his initial shock after a moment of processing, a ruthless determination flashes in the man's eye. If I can be the king of the demon realm, then what does a few treasure matter? I can gather everything for him again at a later date. The Little Devil 3. Yes, as long as I become the Demon King, then what else can I not get in this world? You don't need to come tell me these things in the future. Oh right. What's the situation with the drug I've tasked you with giving him? Zhongyu asks after prioritizing which was more important. Biting her lip. I've been putting the drug into his soup every day, and made sure he drank it all in front of me. I believe the toxin might be producing some unintended side effect. Perhaps that is the reasoning behind his loss of control and violent behavior. Then that's good, he said with a pleased voice. Go back first, and keep a close eye on him for the coming days. I don't want the boy making any contact with the outside until we are ready. If he learns of the truth, that he's a fox while we're wolves, then it will inevitably cause the boy to suspect something. I understand. Despite the unhappiness plaguing this wolf lady, Cece nevertheless left the restaurant as told. Her only hope now was to get the little devil under control soon. Otherwise she might just strangle him in the heat of the moment. Long Town. In the street, Bai Yan's gaze was still scanning the surrounding streets when the wolf lady came strolling out of the restaurant. As a result of the rush and carelessness between both parties, the two had directly bumped heads and crashed into one another, causing them both to falter backwards from the collision. Cece was the first to come back to attention after the initial bump. When she did so, her view was instantly showered with Bai Yan's mesmerizing contour. It's left her speechless and at a loss of breath. Bai Yan also came back to her senses by then. And just like the astonishment portrayed by the other side, she too made a surprised face after checking out Cece's figure. Demonic Wolf Clan? Cece's body quivered at being pointed out. If it was her own kind who saw through her background, then it's still understandable. But everyone here in the secret domain are capable of hiding their scent and aura, making this very abnormal. You are? She asks with a furrowed frown. Controlling her expression, Bai Yan speaks. Before I came here, First Elder had told me about your clan. He said there are those who've been exiled to the secret domain as punishment and made to guard the place. And your clan is one of those guilty groups, is it not? Giving a pause to think before continuing. Is your clan chief called Zhang Chongqing? The demonic wolf clan has always been ambitious even before their banishment. The only exception was this Zhang Chongqing. As a result, the person who was still a young lad back then was made the clan chief, due to his timid nature. Yes, Zhang Chongqing is the clan's chief and my father. Showing a smile now, Cece felt more at ease since she didn't feel any hostility from the other woman. May I know who you are, miss? I only want to ask you one question. Have you seen Deetsong? Deetsong? Showing surprise on her face, Cece almost questioned her own ears for a second there. Who exactly is this woman to address the Demon King by name? And your relationship to the king? Oh, I'm his wife. Oh, I'm his wife. This sentence was like a heavyweight smash hitter, causing the wolf lady to become disorientated due to this overwhelming piece of information. Is this woman the king's wife, the mother of the prince? What am I supposed to do? The prince is still at home, and I'm impersonating the queen. The Little Devil 4. Casting her eyes downwards in order to avoid eye contact. My apology, but the king is not at this place. Your Highness should go look elsewhere if you wish to find him. Even if the panic in her eyes were only a glimmer of a flash, it's still not quick enough to escape Bai Yan's sharp attentive gaze. Giving a quiet nod of suspicion. Okay, I won't trouble you then. If there's a message from Deetsong though, remember to let me know. When her words fell, she immediately made a turn to walk the opposite way. However, if one paid closer attention, they would easily recognize how slow her footsteps were, unlike before where it's at a pacing speed. Sure enough, when Cece made a run back to inform her accomplice, Bai Yan's head had come around to watch where she went. This demonic wolf clan, something is not right with them. Suddenly, A small hand reaches out and tugs at Bai Yan's sleeve from the side. Looking down, she could see it was a young boy. But that face was as beautiful as any little girl and more. Is what you said all true? You are the Demon Realm's queen? Blinking that eyelash, the young boy asks with carefulness in his tone. She nods. Do you know something, little boy? Based on the kid's gaze alone, she could already tell he has something to say. Nodding desperately, Little Leopard went right into the important bit. If you are the Demon Realm's queen, then you are Xiaoqin's mother, right? Clenching up in her heart, Bai Yan instantly grasps onto the child's shoulder because she knew her chance was here. Have you seen Xiaoqin? Where is he? Giving a glance towards the direction of where the wolf lady departed. Those people tricked Xiaoqin and I into coming here. Then they gave him the drug to lose his memories. Thankfully, he didn't fall for their plan. Now they're shamelessly claiming to be his parents. The last bit of that explanation made Bai Yan's fists clench even harder. You say those people. Are you referring to the demonic wolf clan's member? Yes, it is them. Those wolves not only pretended to be Xiaoqin's parents, they also said the Demon Realm's king is his worst enemy after believing he's lost his memory. Biting his little lip, the boy tightens his grasp around Bai Yan's sleeve like he's afraid she might not believe him. Xiaoqin said he wants to see the king. That's why he stayed at the Wolf Manor. Auntie, can you help get him out of there? I can't just leave him behind. A surge of anger erupts from the woman's chest as Cece and her accomplice came quickly out of the establishment during this timing. When they saw it was Little Leopard standing next to Bai Yan, the wolf lady nearly lost her footing and crumbled to the floor. Zhang Yu didn't do so well either. But unlike the lady, he's more composed and hurried to drag the leopard boy back to his side before making a greeting. Your Highness has traveled far today. Please forgive this boy's lack of manners. He's my son's playmate, so he might have done something he didn't mean to. Allow me to bring him back for further education, if he's offended you in any way. As much as Bai Yan would love to tear these two scheming wolves apart right then and there, she nevertheless suppressed her inner anger to take the safe route. I disagree there. I find this boy very much to my liking, in fact. Zhang Yu was truly startled by that answer, first giving the teary boy in his hand a stare. Then he furrowed his brow into a frown of confusion. This boy also lost his memory because of the drug. There's no way he could have anything to the Demon Queen. Perhaps it's really just that they're compatible. Bai Yan's fury won. Since your Highness likes it, then I'll take him to visit you in person on another date. He hasn't completely taken control of that brat yet, so it's imperative that he not allow the two to meet. Flickering a meaningful light in the eyes over how the man was trying to hide the leopard boy away. No need. I am getting tired anyways, so why don't I come to your home for a visit? How about that? Dramatically changing in his complexion over that suggestion, Zhong Yu nearly gasped from the huge breath he took in. Queen, my father is not home right now, you coming? That doesn't seem to be right. Why don't we wait until he returns to receive you? Just give him a few more days, and he would be able to completely control that little brat. By then not even the king would be able to do anything, let alone this human woman. And if, narrowing her eyes in, a frosty curve forms around Bai Yan's lip, I must come. All white in the face, Zhang Yu gnashes his teeth and stands firm. Queen, I respect you because of your position. Do you really think the demon realm is controlled by you? Nothing but a human. Do you think your status will be there if it wasn't for the fact that you gave birth to the prince? Due to the demonic wolf clan's inability to leave this secret domain, their members have no way of knowing the true circumstances regarding the outside world. Nor do they know of Deedsong's edict from before. So you're implying that you're not allowing me to enter the wolf manor? Bai Yan sneered as she approached the two wolves with that dangerous figure of hers. Under that pressuring aura, Zhang Yu instinctively cowered and stepped back as well to keep distance. He may not understand why he's feeling so stressed, but that body of his doesn't lie. It's fear he's sensing, and it's telling him to back off. Queen, please go back, he says after much difficulty. That was the last straw for the leopard boy. Breaking free from the hold, Little Leopard quickly ran to Bai Yan's side and stared viciously at the two wolves. You two are bad people and kidnapped Xiaoqin. Auntie, they are the ones who locked away Xiachen, you must save him. That outcry from the boy completely scared the daylights out of the two across from them. Practically screaming now, Zhang Yu loses his act and snaps back. What nonsense are you talking about? I am not talking nonsense. A pang of anger erupts from the kid's face. Auntie, let's go find Xiachen. We can save him together. Pulling at Bai Yan's hand, he had wanted to lead her to the wolf manor, when Zhang Yu suddenly attacked. The fist from the treacherous wolf was aiming straight for the boy's face, a spot where it would kill based on the level of power infused in that punch. Fortunately, there's a guardian angel around. Bai Yan's fury too. Cici, you go back first. He coughed dryly as he gave that command. Despite her own worry still, the wolf lady didn't argue with Zhang Yu's order and ran for the manor. Towards this maneuver, Bai Yan didn't fret, only picking up the leopard boy in pursuit from behind. The wolf man saw this, of course. He knew he had to do something despite his own injuries, hence the swinging punch he made at her. Sadly, this was a huge mistake on his part because Bai Yan's reaction was just as fast, and in the form of a counter kick. This sent the bastard flying over 10 meters away this time around, and made that stomach vomit blood like a fountain. Scram! After leaving that remark, Bai Yan immediately continued her chase for Cici, leaving only the unconscious wolf man in the background. Wolf Manor. Within the courtyard, Bai Xiachen was currently snickering with cunning, as one of his fingers illuminated itself with a spark of blue flame. Where should I set fire to this time? He mutters carelessly as his free hand rubbed that little chin of his. The maids and servants were all kneeling before him by now with shivering motion. They just couldn't believe this lovely-looking child to be such a little devil. Master Xiachen, please don't set fire anymore. Otherwise you will burn the whole manor down at this rate. Curving that smile into a cunning smirk, Bai Xiachen deliberately makes a disapproving face. You will not let me go out to play, and now you won't let me set fire. What am I supposed to do here then? I'm bored and have nothing to do. Master Xiachen, the one who won't let you go out is your father Master Yu's decision. It's dangerous outside. If we let you run around, then those people who injured you will inevitably find you again. The maid quivered, and attempts to persuade him with that point. Huffing a snort. If you won't let me go out to play, then don't get in my way. If you do, then I'll burn you along with whatever I want to burn. The maids and servants quivered once again over that threat, and exchanged various glances of fear between themselves. In the end, they stepped back, and left the boy to his own bidding. Xiachen. Suddenly, a panicked voice came from rear side door right as the devilish kid was about to set another fire, causing that little face to collapse from disappointment. What do you want this time? These days he's been really annoyed whenever this wolf lady came over. It's like she's a heckling bat, constantly bothering him during his pranks. Xiachen, come with me. Cici reaches out, and wanted to pull the boy along despite not asking for permission, or giving reason. This angered the little steam bun, of course, which he avoided by sliding to one side using a quick step. Normally the lady would question why the supposed amnesia kid would react this way, but time was urgent, and she didn't have time to dwell on the matter. Not knowing what to do, Cici did what came to mind and tried again to no avail. Listen to me, Xiachen. Those people who harmed you is coming. We must go into hiding to keep you safe. Now hurry and come with me. I am your mother, so I won't hurt you. She explains with panic showing all over that urgent face. Now that news wasn't bad at all. In fact, it made Bai Xiachen light up with Li in the eyes, for he knew what's coming. Is Batty father here? Pretending to be puzzled. You said those people harmed me, but there's no hatred between me and them, so why would they hurt me? Stumped by the logic, Cici began to ramble on the only idea that could sprout from that airhead brain of hers. That's because they found you cute and cuddly. They wanted to steal you away from me and your father, but we refused. How can we abandon you, Xiachen? That's when they got furious and attacked. They wanted to destroy you because they couldn't have you. Bai Yan's fury 3. Is it? Bai Xiachen's eyes were full of laughter after hearing that defensive excuse. But it didn't even compare to the beaming face he showed after catching a glimpse of that lovely red figure slowly descending from the air. Mother, likely due to not being aware of the person that has landed behind herself, Cece actually believed the little rascal was calling out to herself, and became warmed by the thought. It couldn't be helped. After this little devil came to their home, things haven't been the same. It's downright chaotic and a mess. It looks like my efforts have paid off. This little guy now knows what's best for him, and accepted me in his heart. Just when Cece was getting jubilant over that idea, Bai Xiachen had already shirked off her hands to run past towards the doorway. This left the wolf lady completely frozen there, stiffly turning around with those fingers still hanging in the air. What came into her view was Bai Yan's gorgeous contour. Before either of the girls could say another word though, Bai Xiachen had already thrown himself into those arms. Mother, I miss you so much. How come you didn't come find me earlier? Is it because Batty Father won't let you come? Compared to his previous cunning appearance, the little steam bun was now portraying a pitiful and sad face like he's been greatly wronged. It couldn't be helped. In the little guy's mind, it's always Di Tsong who's the bad person, and the one trying to fight him for Bai Yan's attention. In retrospect, the doting mother here on the other hand was flabbergasted by the first comment coming out of her son's mouth. What did Di Tsong ever do to make our boy think like this? Am I not here now, sweetie? Tightly embracing the little guy, her face dons a warm smile. It's so nice having a son around. Back over at Cece's side, the wolf lady was frozen all over as an uncontrollable panic shook her entire existence, due to the dismay growing from within. How can it be? Didn't he have amnesia? Why would this little thing remember his own mother? As reluctant as Bai Xiachen was about letting go, he did after a long hug. Turning around to face the deceitful witch, his lips had turned into a sarcastic snarl. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you people. Mother's been feeding me various herbs and drugs since I was little, so I'm immune to most poison. The little drug you gave me have no effect. Faltering backwards over that bombshell of a truth, Cece kept shaking her head like this was some kind of lie. No, this can't be. Is he saying that everything is a lie? The amnesia is a lie? No. Why are you doing this? Why? She finally understood why the kid's behavior was so abominably horrible. It's because it's all a act. Puckering his lip to one side like it's something obvious. Didn't you want to use me to deal with my batty father? If so, then why wouldn't I use you to my advantage? Instead of me going to look for him, it's easier to just sit around and wait. With her finger pointed at the rascal, Cece found her tongue tied there. She couldn't utter a word against him as tear and despair slowly filled those eyes. Son, be good and wait here for me. Leaning downward, Bai Yin gives her boy a peck on the forehead to seal the deal. Bai Yan's fury for. Under Bai Yan's oppressive and nerve-wracking stare, Cece instinctively cowered backwards and became too afraid to meet that gaze. Even worse, the lady had no more room to cower, because there's a huge chunk of all behind her back. Exactly then, right as the wolf lady's lost on what to do, her eyes suddenly caught sight of the familiar contour. Brother, you, quickly save me. This boy has been faking it the entire time. What? Trembling in his already injured body, Zhong Yu fell over backwards from the loss of balance. He's absolutely white right now as he stared at the little steam bun in incredulous and disbelief. You bunch of dummies think I will be schemed against with your level of intelligence? I only used your plan to my advantage. Thankfully it's useful, and Mother came to find me like I thought. Despite the disastrous and destructive acts he's done so far, like setting fire and stuff, he's behaving like a little angel while in Bai Yan's presence. How can this be? It's over, it's all over. I should have listened to Father's words, and kept to the stable life here. If I did, then none of this would be happening. Now not only will I be killed, my entire clan will also fall with me. Bang! With a sudden swinging kick, Bai Yan directly knocks Cece over when the lady showed signs of stepping back. It's excruciatingly painful for the wolf lady to be attacked so heavily, and without indication. Sadly for her, Zhong Yu seems to have no intention of saving her despite the bleak appearance. To the man, he only wanted to flee right now, and save himself at this point. But right as the wolf man's about to sneak away, while everyone's attention was preoccupied by his companion. Bai Yin abruptly shoots a glare behind herself and sends a beam of force into the man's ankle. And as if that wasn't enough to subdue the bastard, a powerful aura had come down from the front, crushing him and pressing that body down like a mountain. While Bai Yin and Bai Xiachen both noticed this behavior at the same time and looked over, the kid only showed an astonished face when his eyes fell upon that silvery-haired figure. However, the woman herself was a different story. When the husband and wife met and made eye contact, it was the male who first made a surprised look before turning it into anger. So, for a moment, those who are being suppressed actually thought there's a chance for them to live based on Ditsong's reaction. This was especially true for Zhongyu and Cece. Perhaps the relationship between the king and queen isn't so good after all. Otherwise, why else would he be so mad? Is it Di Xiaowan? Asked the man with seething flames spewing out of that tongue. He's furious, and didn't remember to catch his breath when speaking. Startled on her face. What? Bai Yan's Fury 5. Is it Di Xiaowan who told you? Is it her who found a way for you to come here? I just knew it's going to be her when it comes to these things. When I get out of here, I'm going to break her leg as punishment. The anger was now seething out of Ditsong's voice when he spoke, making him practically losing control. That stinking girl knows damn well how dangerous this place is. How can she let Yin Yin come? I'm going to make sure she learns not to cross the line again. Bai Yin narrows her eyes and over that mutter. Xiachen lost contact and you didn't tell me? And what of it that it's Xiaowan who told me? If it wasn't for her, I would still be in the dark. I knew it. This time I will make sure to beat her till she learns. While the man grinds his teeth in frustration, Bai Yin only snickered a laugh at her husband's childish behavior and reached over to choke him by the collar. In this moment all of the demons and people were dumbfounded by what they saw. How noble is the king? He's someone who would beat the princess if he wants. How can this human woman be so daring to treat the king in this way? It couldn't be helped that they would be so shocked. These demons stationed inside the secret domain have never left their homes for a long time now. It's normal for them to lack the latest news regarding the relationship of this pair from the outside. Ditsong. Bai Yin spoke with flair all over her face. Who did you say you were going to tie up and beat? By now Ditsong's anger has mostly dissipated due to his wife's harsh voice. Then after some thought, he decides to answer honestly upon weighing the pros and cons of lying. Di Xiaowan. In response to that answer, Bai Yin only started to chuckle menacingly. It's nerve-wracking, making even Ditsong feel uneasy. Yen, there's a lot of celestial rank people here in this secret domain. Out of worry for your safety, that's why I forbade Xiaowan from. You shut up. Bai Yan's yell instantly made the man shut up that lip. I'm going to ask you one last time. Who did you say you were going to hang up to beat? I only wanted to. But before he could finish that sentence with his sister's name, Bai Yan's expression had already turned dangerously dark, causing Ditsong to change his wording right away. I want to hang myself to beat. Only then did Bai Yin smile and pat him on the shoulder. Now that's good. In front of you, I am always very good. May your hubby here know if you will reward me with a daughter? That will depend on your performance. Bai Yan's smile grew even deeper. Although she failed to keep the promise between her and the demon princess, and allowed Ditsong to know of the fact. But what's so hard about protecting that girl? I am always good. Do you want to see for yourself tonight, Yin Yin? A rosy smile evokes out of the man's lip while his voice whispered into the woman's ear. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.